In the third year of being trafficked, the police dismantled the gang. In the interrogation room, the officer asked me with reddened eyes, "Why didn't you run back then? You clearly had a chance to call for help." I stared at him blankly. "Why run? Eating here doesn't cost money, and sleeping doesn't require paying for a bed." The police officer was stunned. She didn't know that in my so-called home, my biological parents enforced a strict pay-as-you-need system on me. A cup of hot water costs 50 cents, a meal costs 2 yuan, but my brother gets to drink and eat for free, and even gets rewards. On my 9th birthday, unable to afford a bowl of longevity noodles, I followed the human trafficker away. The policewoman sitting across from me is named Qin Xiao. She pushed a thermos cup with a loosened lid in front of me. I immediately hid both hands behind my back, my fingers dug tightly into the edge of my pocket. "I'm not thirsty." I stared at the cup's opening and swallowed hard. "I don't have money to buy water." Qin Xiao's hand, extended halfway, froze. She looked at the cup in her hand, then at me. "This is water provided for free by the Bureau. It doesn't cost anything." I shook my head vigorously. "Nothing in this world comes for free. My mother used to say that every drop of water and every grain of rice in our house had to be accounted for." I lived in that home for 9 years, collecting scrap every day to exchange for coins. The coins I earned had to be handed over on time. Only after paying enough money could I get a bite to eat. Sometimes, when I couldn't collect enough scrap, I had to sleep on the ground with an empty stomach, because even sleeping on a bed required paying rent. But it was different with the human traffickers. They would give out 2 cornbread buns every day. No matter how hard the buns were, they were free. At night, a dozen or so of us children would squeeze together to sleep on a single mat. No one came to collect bedding fees from me. I rushed to do chores every day. I sweep the floor and wash the dishes, as long as they don't drive me away. The other children always cry and fuss, wanting to find their parents. Every time they cry, they get a beating. I won't cry. I'm afraid they'll think I'm disobedient and send me back to that home where everything costs money. Until 3 days ago, when Qin Xiao stormed into the yard with a group of people while the trafficker was being pinned to the ground. I was hiding behind the stove, gnawing on an unfinished cornbread bun. Qin Xiao walked over and picked me up. I struggled desperately at the time. I didn't want to leave. If I left, there would be no more free steamed corn buns to eat. Qin Xiao took me back to the police station. "I've been on edge these past 2 days." Qin Xiao sighed and continued questioning me. "Your name is Xiaoman, right? We've already contacted your biological parents, and they're on their way here." I shivered. "I have to go back. I have to go back to that home where even drinking water costs money." Seeing me tremble, Qin Xiao softened his voice. "Don't be afraid. The human trafficker has been caught. You'll be able to go home soon." I looked at her shocked face, completely unable to understand what I had said wrong. I patted my pocket. It was empty. "I don't have money to buy a bed for tonight." Qin Xiao arranged a lounge for me. I sat on the edge of the bed, not daring to lie down. I pressed my hand against the mattress, very soft, in that so-called home. Sleeping on a wooden plank bed for 1 night cost 1 yuan. If you wanted an extra cotton quilt, you had to pay another 50 cents. The first thing I did every day when I opened my eyes was to figure out where to go scavenging for scrap. Mineral water bottles, 1 cent for 3 cardboard, 2 cents per jean. My mother took a piece of chalk and drew a tally mark on the wall of the main room. That was the money I owed her. "Giving birth to you cost 80 yuan in examination fees, and you have to pay that back." She always repeated this to me while twisting the hem of her clothes, her gaze as if looking at a piece of old furniture for sale. "In this house, nothing comes for free, except for my brother Yaozu. Yaozu could have a boiled egg every morning. I could only watch from the side." I swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Once, I was so hungry that I reached up to touch the broken eggshells on the table. My mother grabbed a pair of chopsticks and smacked the back of my hand. "Stop touching. If you want eggs, buy them yourself, 1 yuan each." I quickly pulled my hand back. The back of my hand immediately turned bright red. I didn't dare to cry. Crying out loud would disturb Yaozu while he's eating, and my mom would deduct my meal allowance for the day. Dinner had to be bought anyway, 2 yuan for a meal, which only got you a shriveled up steamed bun and a bowl of boiled vegetable leaves. I often couldn't afford those 2 yuan. I could only quench my hunger by drinking raw water from the water vat in the middle of the night. Raw water didn't cost money, but I often had stomachaches. Once, the pain was so severe that I rolled on the ground, gritting my teeth without making a sound, because if I wake my mom, she'll charge me $5 for disturbing the peace to earn enough for daily meals and a place to sleep. I'll do anything. Digging through scrap metal and junk at the dump, my finger got sliced open by a piece of broken glass. Blood dripped onto the ground. I didn't go to the clinic, because Band-Aids cost 50 cents each. I tore off a strip of cloth from the hem of my shirt and wrapped it haphazardly around my finger, continued to the next trash bin. On my 9th birthday, I had collected recyclables for a whole month, and exchanged them for $2.50. I neatly stacked 2 1 yuan coins in a 5 bill, tucking them against my skin. I slipped them into my undergarments. That day, I wanted to go to the noodle stall at the street corner for a bowl of clear broth noodles. Usually, I Only dared to watch from afar, that was my wish for the entire year, but just as I reached the courtyard gate, my mother stopped me. She grabbed my hair and reached into my clothes. I desperately covered my chest and backed away. "Mom, that's my money. It's my birthday today." Smack, a slap lands on my face. I fall to the ground. The coin rolled out from the clothes. My mom immediately snatched the money into her hand. "What birthday celebration? Your brother is exactly $2 short for buying in." Ultraman toy, hand it over. She turned and walked away with my money. I got up and tugged at her pant leg. "Mom, can you leave me to you on? I'll just have a bowl of noodles. I'll collect more bottles tomorrow and pay you back." She kicked me away. "You think a worthless girl like you deserves noodles? Get lost." I lay on the ground, watching her walk into the house. The door slammed shut heavily. I walked alone onto the street. I stood across from the noodle stall. The boss was dropping noodles into the pot. I swallowed hard. I couldn't afford that bowl of noodles anymore. Just then, a man walked up beside me. He handed over a piece of fruit candy. I instinctively took a step back. My hands tightly covered my empty pockets. "Uncle, how many cents do I need to pay for this candy?" I looked at him. He froze for a moment. "It's free. I'm giving it to you." I stared intently at that piece of candy. This was the first time in my 9 years of life that I had ever heard the word free. Slowly, I reached up my hand and took the candy, put it in my mouth. "Uncle will take you to a place where there are free steamed buns to eat every day. Do you want to go?" he asked me. I didn't hesitate at all. I took his hand. The man who gave me candy was called Brother Wang. He took me onto a minivan. The inside of the van was very dark. There were 5 other children inside. They were all crying. Only I sat motionless in the corner, with that free piece of candy in my mouth. The candy slowly grew smaller. I can't bear to swallow it. I push it to the side of my cheek with my tongue, gently holding it in place with my teeth. A girl in a pink dress nearby keeps calling for her mother. She's crying very hard. Snot dripped onto her clothes. Brother One turned around from the front row and roared, "Shut up." The girl was so frightened she let out a hiccup and cried even louder. Brother One walked over and slapped her across the face. The girl covered her face, not daring to make a sound. Brother One looked at me. I immediately straightened my posture. I placed my hands flat on my knees. "Uncle, how many cents does it cost to ride this car?" I asked him. Brother Wang was stunned. He stared at me for several seconds, then suddenly burst into laughter. "No charge. From now on, when you're with Uncle, nothing costs a thing." I nodded firmly. "It's good not to have to pay. I don't even have $2 for the bus fare. If he asks for money, I'll have to jump out of the car." The car drove for a long time. It stopped in front of a courtyard. The courtyard wall was built very high. The gate was pushed open, and we were herded into a windowless room. Inside the room, there was only a very large mat. Brother Wang walked in carrying a plastic bucket. The bucket held yellowed cornbread buns. He handed out 2 to each person. The girl in the pink dress threw her buns on the ground. "I won't eat this. I want fried chicken. I want to go home," she shouted. Brother Wang didn't hit her. He just locked the door from the outside and left. I stared at the cornbread on the floor. It was covered in dust, but in my house, if any food fell on the floor, my mom would immediately pick it up and stuff it into my mouth, and she would also deduct 50 cents from me as a waste fee. I crawled over and picked up that steamed cornbread. I patted the dust off it with my hand. He took a bite. It was very hard, but it wasn't spoiled. Most importantly, it was free. I quickly finished the 2 steamed buns in my hand. Then I ate the one the girl had thrown away as well. I was completely stuffed. It was the first time in 9 years that I had eaten my fill. I lean against the corner of the wall, rubbing my swollen belly. I do a quick mental calculation. If I were at home, this meal would have cost me 3 yuan. I've just earned 3 yuan. The next morning, the door opened. A plump woman walked in. They called her Sister Hua. Sister Hua was carrying a basin of boiled cabbage that had lost its color. The children refused to eat. They continued to cry and fuss. Sister Hua held a rattan cane, whipping anyone who cried. The room was filled with screams of agony. I didn't cry. I walked over to the basin and picked up a chipped porcelain bowl. I served myself a large portion of vegetables. Squatting nearby, I began eating heartily. Sister Hua held the rattan cane suspended in midair. She looks at me. "Aren't you afraid of me?" Sister Hua asked. I swallowed the vegetables in my mouth. "Auntie, how much do I have to pay to eat this dish?" Sister Hua furrowed her brow. "Is this kid out of his mind?" she muttered. I wasn't at ease. I put down my bowl, ran to the corner, and grabbed a broom. "Auntie, I don't have any money to give you. I'll sweep the floor for you. Could you not charge me for the meal?" I started sweeping the floor with all my might. I swept all the trash from the corners into one pile, then went to get a dry cloth to wipe the windowsill. Sister Hua stood there watching me for a long time. She put away the rattan cane. From that day on, I became the most special presence in this courtyard. The other children were bound hand and foot every day. I was not, because I never run away, and not only do I not run, I also help Sister Hua with her work. Before dawn even breaks, I take the broom and sweep the courtyard clean. After sweeping the courtyard, I go to the kitchen to light the fire. The firewood was a bit damp and wouldn't catch. I lay on the ground, blowing on it with all my might. The smoke made my eyes water, but I didn't dare stop. In that house, if the firewood didn't light, my mother would find an excuse to whip my legs, a flick, and she even demanded I compensate her for the wasted effort, 20 cents each time. No one here hits me. I don't want to lose this job that doesn't cost me anything. After the fire was lit, I started washing the clothes for over a dozen children, plus Brother Wang's and Sister Hua's, piled up as high as a small mountain. The water in winter is bitterly cold. Your hands freeze stiff the moment you dip them in. Frostbite had set in. It was swollen high, the skin broken and oozing yellow fluid. Sister Hua saw it as she passed by. She kicked me disdainfully. Don't get blood on my clothes. I quickly wiped my hands dry on my pants. Auntie, don't worry. I won't make a mess. I washed them very clean. Sister Hua ignored me and turned to leave. I continued to soak my hands in the cold water. The water was bone-chilling, but I felt happy inside, because Sister Hua didn't ask me to pay for the medicine to treat my chilblains. Back at home, even if I just sneezed, my mom would demand I pay a 1 yuan infectious disease prevention fee here. Getting sick is free. 3 months later, the girl in the pink dress was taken away. Sister Hua said she fetched a good price. That night, another batch of new children was brought into the courtyard. A boy had a fever. He lay on the mat, delirious. Sister Hua wouldn't take him to see a doctor. In Sister Hua's view, seeing a doctor costs money. It's best if we can get through this without spending any money. If we can't get through it, just throw it away. On the 3rd day of the boy's fever, he had completely stopped moving. He lay in the corner, his breathing barely audible. I bring him raw water every day. He can't drink it. The water trickles from the corner of his mouth onto the mat. I quickly wipe it away with a dry cloth. I'm afraid Sister Hua might see and charge him a cleaning fee. In the evening, Brother Wang walked in carrying a burlap sack. He stuffed the boy inside. The boy didn't struggle. I sat by and watched. I recognized that burlap sack used for potatoes. Brother Wang hoisted the sack onto his shoulder and headed out. Sister Hua cursed and grumbled behind him. Worthless brat, wasting so many days of my food. Should have just tossed you under the bridge from the start. I listened to Sister Hua's words, silently taking them to heart. Wasting food means getting stuffed into a sack. I absolutely must not waste food. The next morning, I picked up the half-eaten hard cornbread the boy had left behind. It had already grown green mold on it. I used my fingernails to scrape off the green mold bit by bit, then I stuffed it into my mouth and chewed hard. It's very bitter, but I swallowed it. Adults all hate spending money, so I had to make myself very useful and absolutely not spend a single cent of theirs. At the end of the first year, Sister Hua and Brother Wang had a big argument. Brother Wang wants to sell me. He said he contacted an old man in the mountains who was willing to pay 20,000 yuan for a child bride. Sister Hua disagreed. If we sell her, who's going to wash clothes for so many people? Who's going to cook? If you hire someone else to do the work, wouldn't it cost 2,000 yuan a month? Sister Hua pointed at my nose and said to Brother Wang, this girl only needs a bite to eat to survive. We'll save that 20,000 yuan in just a few months. I was listening nearby. I understood. Sister Hua thought I was cheap. I was very happy. As long as I'm cheap, they won't kick me out. Brother Wang gave in. I stayed, and became the free laborer in this human trafficking ring. The 3rd year, I was already 12 years old. Every morning, I got up at 5 to cook porridge, and at 6, I handed out steamed buns to the new children. I didn't hit them. I only told them, eat, this is free. If you don't eat, you'll be stuffed into a sack. Some children didn't understand and kept crying. I would then take their cornbread and keep it for myself. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. I'm just following the rules here. Rules that don't cost any money. I've even secretly saved up 6 coins. They were dropped in the yard by Brother Wang when he was drunk. I quickly picked up the coin and wiped the dirt off on my clothes. When I went to bed that night, I lifted the insole of my shoe. I used my fingernail to carve a shallow groove in the sole and neatly placed the coin inside. Then I covered it back up with the insole. I sleep with my shoes on. These $6 are my only confidence in this world. If one day Sister Hua really decides to sell me, I'll give her these $6 and tell her I can buy my own steamed buns to eat. Until 3 days ago, the door was suddenly smashed open. A group of people in uniforms rushed in. Brother Wang was just about to run out the back door when he was pinned to the ground. Sister Hua screamed as handcuffs were slapped on her wrists. The yard was in complete chaos. People in uniforms were searching everywhere. I had no idea what was happening. My first thought was that these people had come to collect money. My mom said that whenever someone in uniform comes to the door, it means we have to pay a fine. I was terrified. I didn't have any money to pay the fine. I crawled into the kitchen and hid under the stove, clutching tightly to that chipped porcelain bowl I had used for 3 years. Chin Xiao walked into the kitchen. She shone her flashlight on me. Little sister, don't be afraid. We're the police, here to take you home. I desperately shrank back. I don't have any money, I shouted at her. I won't pay the fine. Don't arrest me. Qinsha froze. She put down the flashlight and reached up to pull me. I bit down hard on her wrist. She didn't pull away until I had left a deep ring of teeth marks. She forcibly picked me up and carried me out. The day I was taken away in the police car, I clung desperately to that porcelain bowl with a chipped corner for the 3 hours I spent at the police station. I remained crouched in the corner. Qinsha brought me a set of clean clothes. It was a pink tracksuit. It still had the price tag attached. I glanced at the number on that price tag, 68. I quickly hid both hands behind my back, pressing them firmly against the wall. I won't wear it. I shook my head desperately. Qinsha walked over, trying to stuff the clothes into my arms. Your clothes are all sour. Wear this new set. I bought it for you. No charge. No charge. I can't believe these 3 words right now. If I wear this outfit and my mom sees it, she'll definitely make me pay her back the 68 yuan. 68 yuan. I'd have to collect 2,000 plastic bottles, or take 136 beatings. I could never repay it all. Qinsha sighed and placed the clothes on the chair beside him. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. It's heavy, mixed with the sharp, complaining voice of a woman, to pick up this money-losing burden. We spent 80 on the bus and another 20 on a 3-wheeler. 100 yuan just gone like that. This trip is a total loss. That voice is all too familiar to me. For 9 years, this voice has been urging me to pay up every single day. I shuddered violently. My hands instinctively covered the pocket holding the coins. The door was pushed open. My mother walked in. She was wearing a faded floral shirt, her hair hastily tied up at the back of her head. Following behind her were my father and a chubby boy. It was my brother, Yaozu. It's been 3 years, and Yaozu has grown taller and chubbier. He was holding a bag of potato chips, stuffing them into his mouth. Qinsha stood up and walked over to greet them. Are you Xiaomon's parents? We found her. She's over there. My mother looked in the direction Qinsha pointed. I cowered in the corner, clutching the chipped porcelain bowl in my arms. I thought she would rush over, hug me, and burst into tears, just like in the TV shows, but she didn't. She walked over with a frown, looking down at me from above. Her eyes were filled with disdain. Why are you still so skinny? You've been away for 3 years and haven't gained an ounce of weight. Useless thing, just wasting food. As she spoke, she reached out and grabbed my ear, lifting me up from the ground. I winced in pain, sucking in a sharp breath, but I didn't dare make a sound, because even crying out in pain would cost money. My mom charges $5 for each noise complaint. I straightened up following the force of her pull, head lowered. Mom, I didn't waste food, I whispered. I work every day, and they don't charge me for meals. My mother snorted coldly. She let go of my ear and turned to look at Qinsha. Her face immediately broke into an ingratiating smile. Her fingers fidgeted nervously against the rough hem of her clothes. Officer, we've really troubled you. Look at how far we've come, even delaying our farm work. Will your bureau reimburse us for the travel expenses and lost wages? Qinsha was stunned. She had probably never heard such a question before. You're here to pick up your own daughter, who was trafficked for 3 whole years and suffered countless hardships, and your first reaction is to ask us for compensation for lost wages? My mother's expression changed. You can't say it like that. We're victims too. She was kidnapped, and for the past 3 years, the family has been short of a helping hand. Yaozu's clothes have had no one to wash them. My back is worn out from the work, and I even had to spend money on medical treatment. My father nodded repeatedly beside her. That's right, officer. Now that the girl is found, has the captured trafficker paid any compensation? If there's no compensation, we won't accept this. Qinshao's chest heaved violently with anger. She pointed at me. Look at her. She's only 12, covered in frostbite and scars. Don't you have a single word of concern? My mother glanced at me indifferently. Kids are bound to get bumps and bruises. Besides, she's alive and well, isn't she? Since she's not dead, hurry up and come home with me. The pigs haven't been fed for days. Yaozu tossed the empty chip bag onto the ground beside him. Hurry up and go home. I need to take a shit. Damn girl. Go wash my shoes as soon as we get back. They're stinking up the place. I stared at the wrapper on the ground. An alarm immediately went off in my head. If trash falls on the ground and isn't swept up quickly, my mom will dock me 2 cents for cleaning fees. I lunged forward abruptly, kneeling on the floor. I picked up that greasy wrapper, clutching it tightly in my hand. I picked it up. Mom, don't dock my money. I looked up at her. My mother looked at me with disgust. She slapped the back of my head. Trash-picking scum, a disgrace to look at. That slap of hers was delivered with considerable force. I stumbled forward, the chipped porcelain bowl slipping from my grasp. It shattered into several pieces on the floor. I stood there, stunned, looking at the shattered pieces on the ground. I felt as if the sky were about to collapse. This was the only thing I had that didn't cost me any money. Now it's broken. I have nothing Left to hold free, unboiled water, I scrambled to pick up the broken pieces. My finger was cut by the sharp porcelain shard. Blood flowed out, dripping onto the smooth floor. My mom saw it and panicked. She grabbed me by the collar and yanked me to my feet. "You little brat, you've dirted the police station floor. If they ask for compensation, I won't cover it. Figure it out yourself." At the mention of compensation, I trembled all over. I quickly used my sleeve to wipe the blood off the floor. The more I wiped, the dirtier it became. The red bloodstain spread across the white tiles. "I'm sorry. I'll clean it up. I won't spend money. I absolutely won't spend any money," I muttered incoherently. Qinsha pushed my mother aside. She crouched down, tightly grabbing my hand that was wiping the floor. "Stop wiping, Xiaoman. Stop wiping." Her eyes were frighteningly red. She took out the first aid kit and used a cotton swab dipped in iodine to apply it to my wound. The yellowish-brown liquid dripped onto my broken finger. I instinctively pulled back. "Sis, how much does a drop of this medicine cost?" I looked at the bottle in her hand. "My mom won't pay for me, and I don't have any money to give you." Qinshao's hand holding the cotton swab froze in midair. Tears fell directly. She turned and shouted at my mother, "How on earth do you act as parents? Didn't you see she's bleeding?" My mom rolled her eyes. "A little blood won't kill her. Band-aids are expensive, 50 cents each. Her worthless life isn't worth that much." After saying that, my mom's gaze fell on the set of new pink clothes Qinsha had placed on the chair. She walked over and reached out to feel the fabric. "This outfit is quite nice. The fabric is quite substantial." She turned her head to ask Qinsha, "Comrade officer, this outfit was issued to her by the bureau, right?" Qinsha ignored her and continued bandaging my fingers. My mother, seeing Qinsha silent, directly picked up the clothes. She held them up against Yaozu for a comparison. "Yaozu, look, even though these clothes are pink, they'll be perfect for you to wear as pajamas at home. It just so happens that your pajamas have a hole in them." Yaozu snatched the clothes away. "Okay, I'll take this one." I looked at that outfit. There was a price tag on it for 68 yuan. My mom took that set of clothes. She would definitely count those 68 yuan against me. I abruptly broke free from Qinshao's grasp. I rushed over and hugged my mom's leg. "Mom, don't take that dress. That dress costs 68 yuan. I haven't collected enough bottles yet. I can't pay it back." I desperately kowtowed. My forehead hit the hard floor tiles, making a dull thud. "Please don't take it. I'll go back and feed the pigs every day. I'll wash your clothes. I'll do anything. Just don't make me owe 68 yuan, okay?" My mother kicked me in the shoulder. I was kicked over and fell to the ground. "You worthless thing. The clothes the police gave are free stuff is there for the taking. You've been here for 3 years and haven't brought a single cent home, and I haven't even settled the bill for your 3 years of meals yet." I lay on the ground. My mind was buzzing. 3 years worth of meal money, 2 meals a day, 2 yuan each. 3 years is over 1,000 days. That's more than $4,000. My blood ran cold. More than $4,000. I could cut myself into pieces and sell them all, and still not pay off the debt. My mother walked over and grabbed my hair. "Hurry up and come with me. Go back and make up for all the work you missed these 3 years. Your brother is about to start middle school, and we still don't have the tuition. In these 3 years you were away, didn't they pay you any wages? Take it out and let me count it." As she spoke, her hands started digging into my pockets. I covered my pockets in panic. "There are 6 coins I've saved up over 3 years. This is my last lifeline. I have no money. I don't have any money," I screamed at the top of my lungs. My hands gripped the edges of my pockets tightly. Her nails dug deep into the flesh. Seeing my resistance, my mother slapped me across the face. "How dare you defy me? How dare you play tricks on me? Hand over the money." She pried my fingers open with force. "Reach into my pocket." I looked at her in despair, just like on my 9th birthday, when she snatched the $2.50 I had saved to buy longevity noodles, blood ties, for me. This word is like a bill that can never be paid off. In the face of this bill, even my breathing comes with a fee. She dragged me by the arm, pulling me across the ground. The door was right in front of me. Once dragged out, I would have to face that massive bill of over 4,000 yuan. Qinsha rushed over in large strides, firmly blocking the doorway. Qinsha spread his arms wide, like a solid wall, firmly standing in front of my mother. "She cannot go with you." Qinshao's tone left no room for doubt. My mother froze for a moment, then let out a sharp cry. "What kind of police officer are you? This is my daughter. Taking her home is only right and proper. What right do you have to stop me?" As she spoke, she reached out to push Qinsha. My dad chimed in from the side. "Exactly, officer. This is a family matter. You just need to find the person. We'll handle the rest ourselves." "Handle it? How exactly?" Qinshao's gaze was as cold as ice. "By making her go back and serve you like a beast of burden, repaying that Non-existent 4,000 yuan for meals. My mom's face flushed red, then turned pale. She's my child. I raised her. She owes me a debt she can never repay in this lifetime. You, an outsider, should mind your own business. She walked around Qinshaw and tried to grab me again. Yaozu followed behind her, impatiently kicking the floor tiles. Mom, hurry up. I'm still waiting for her to go back and clean my shoes. The teacher is checking them tomorrow. Clean my shoes, feeding the pigs, doing the laundry, and that 4,000 yuan bill. My mother dragged me along, my body scraping a trail across the ground. I look at the chaos unfolding before me. They are my family. They have come to take me home. But this home is more like a hell than the courtyard of Brother Wang and Sister Hua. In that courtyard, as long as I worked, I could earn free steamed buns. But in this home, no matter how much I do, I can never fill the bottomless pit disguised as family affection. Suddenly, I stopped struggling. I let go of the hand that was desperately clutching the hem of my mother's clothes. I slowly got up from the ground. I brushed the dust off my clothes. Everyone was looking at me. My mother thought I had come to my senses, a smug smile spreading across her face. That's more like it. Hurry up and come with me. Don't embarrass yourself here. I didn't look at her. Step by step, I walked up to Qinshaw. I lifted my head and looked at this policewoman I had only known for 3 days. Then, in front of everyone, I slowly and solemnly reached my hand into the sole of my shoe. I lifted the thin insole. With my fingers cut by the porcelain shards, I dug out, one by one, the 6 coins I had saved for 3 years from the shallow pit I had carved out over a long time. The coins were stained with my blood. I placed them in my palm and rubbed them vigorously with the sleeve of my other hand. They were polished until they gleamed. I spread open my hand and held these 6 coins up in front of Qinshaw. My voice was soft, even carrying a hint of ingratiation. Sis, I've got 6 yuan here. I'll give it all to you. Could you sell me a bed? Just on the floor is fine. I don't take up much space. I can sweep floors, wash dishes. I can do any kind of work. I promise I won't be any trouble. Let me stay here, okay? In the lounge, even the sound of breathing was clearly audible. My mother rushed over and knocked the coins out of my hand. Clink, clatter, 6 coins rolled across the floor, like my shattered hopes. You're insane, giving money to an outsider instead of me. I'll beat you to death, you traitorous wretch. She raised her hand to strike me, but her wrist was firmly seized by Qinshaw. Enough. Qinshao's voice was terrifyingly low. She shook off my mother's hand with such force that my mother staggered back several steps. You don't deserve to be parents. Qinshaw bent down and picked up the coins from the ground, one by one. She placed those coins, now covered in dust and bloodstains, back into the palm of my hand. Then, with her hand, she closed my fingers one by one. Xiaoman, listen. She looked straight into my eyes. This money is yours, and no one can take it away. You don't need to use it to buy anything, not a bed, nor dignity. She stood up, positioning herself in front of me once more. This time, her aura had completely changed. It was no longer just a barrier, but a judgment. I am now formally notifying you, according to the law on the protection of minors, your actions have constituted severe abuse and psychological harm. I will immediately submit an application to the procuratorate to revoke your guardianship over Xiaoman. My parents were stunned. Revoke guardianship? What does that mean? My father stammered. It means that from today onward, she has no legal relationship with you whatsoever. You have no right to take her away, nor do you have the right to demand a single cent from her. Get out of my sight right now, otherwise, I'll detain all of you for obstructing official duties. Qinshaw pointed at the door, enunciating each word clearly. My mother still wanted to make a scene. On what grounds? She's my daughter. Because I'm a police officer. Qinshaw took out handcuffs from his waist, weighing them in his hand. And because of every word you just said and every action you took, there are surveillance cameras here, recording everything with audio and video. Upon hearing about the surveillance, my dad immediately grabbed my mom's arm. Forget it. Let's go. There's no benefit in opposing the police. My mom glared at me fiercely. You ungrateful wretch. We raised you for nothing all these years. Don't you ever think about stepping foot in our house again. Yaozu was also frightened, tugging at my mother's sleeve. Mom, let's go quickly. If she doesn't come back, who's going to clean my shoes? The 3 of them left, cursing and grumbling all the way. They complained about the travel expenses when they came, and they complained about not getting the compensation when they left. From start to finish, they never treated me as a daughter who had been lost for 3 years and then reunited, but rather as a piece of merchandise that had lost its value. The door was closed. The world finally fell silent. I was still standing in place, clutching those 6 coins tightly in my palm. My palm ached from the pressure. Qinshaw turned around and crouched down to look at me. Her eyes held a complexity of emotions I Couldn't decipher. There was anger. There was heartache. She gently embraced me. It was very warm, unlike my mother's tugging or sister was shoving. This was a genuine embrace. My entire body went rigid. At 12 years old, I had never been held like this before. Don't be afraid, Chen Xiao whispered in my ear. From now on, no one will come to collect money from you. At that moment, my tears fell without warning. Chen Xiao took me back to her home. I stood at the doorway, not daring to enter. I lowered my head and stared at the floor beneath my feet. I was afraid of getting the floor dirty and having to pay a cleaning fee. Chen Xiao took out a pair of slippers and placed them beside my feet. She told me they were free to use. I slowly changed into the slippers and walked inside. For the next month, I kept waiting for Chen Xiao to give me the bill. I woke up at 5 every morning, swept the house clean. I went to the kitchen and washed all the dishes that could be washed. Chen Xiao wouldn't let me do it. She pushed me down onto the sofa and handed me a remote control. I don't dare to press it. Back at my old home, my mom said watching one episode of a TV drama costs 50 cents in electricity. I put the remote control back on the coffee table, hands resting flat on the knees. I'm not watching, I said, staring at the television screen. I don't have the money to pay the electricity bill. Chen Xiao sat down beside me. She didn't say a word. She simply turned on the TV, switched it to the cartoon channel. I've already paid the electricity bill on a monthly basis. Whether you watch or not, the money won't be refunded to me. She shoved the remote control into my hand. If you don't watch, it's a waste, and wasting comes with a fine. I froze. Is that how the math works? I'm afraid of getting fined. I stared at the cartoon on the screen all day. No one came to collect money from me. On the first night, I didn't dare to sleep in the bed. The bed Chen Xiao made for me is very soft. I huddle on the floor in the corner, clutching an old blanket. Sleeping on a soft bed must cost extra. I can't afford to pay for it. Chen Xiao saw me when she got up to drink water in the middle of the night. She asked me why I wasn't sleeping in the bed. I told her the reason. Chen Xiao didn't pull me up. She went back to the room and brought a quilt to spread on the floor. Sleep with me. She told me the money for the bed had already been paid. If you don't sleep in the bed would break. Only a broken bed needs to be paid for. I believed her words. The next night, I climbed onto that soft bed. I dared not move a muscle. I was afraid of wrinkling the bedsheet. In that household, messing up the bedsheet would cost you 20 cents in tidying fees. 2 months later, Chen Xiao took me to the courthouse. I saw my parents. They were wearing handcuffs. Chen Xiao told me the police discovered that my abduction back then was no accident. It was my mother who sold me for 2,000 yuan to Brother Wang. In the courtroom, my mother was still screaming and shouting. She said Yazu needed exactly 2,000 yuan for his tutoring class. She said I was the worthless girl she gave birth to, eating and drinking at home. Selling me for 2,000 yuan was to find me a place with food and shelter. This was her way of caring for me. She never felt guilty, even until her death. The judge struck the gavel. They were sentenced. Yazu was sent to live with his grandparents. At the moment the verdict was announced, I touched the 6 coins in my pocket. I suddenly felt them become lighter. I no longer needed to save money to repay that debt that could never be cleared. Chen Xiao went through the adoption procedures. I took her surname. Her name is Chen Xiaoman. She bought me a lot of clothes. For each piece, she would cut off the price tags in advance. She told me they were picked up from the roadside and didn't cost a thing. I know she's lying to me, because there's no scent of anyone else on the clothes. But I didn't expose her. I just washed these clothes clean every day. Another year passed. I was 13 years old that day. Chen Xiao got off work early. She went into the kitchen. I stood at the kitchen door, watching her bustle about. I wanted to go in and help wash the vegetables. She pushed me out. Today, you don't have to do anything, she said to me. After a while, she came out carrying a bowl and placed it on the dining table. It was a bowl of noodles. 2 eggs were nestled on top of the noodles. I stood by the table, staring at that bowl of noodles. My throat uncontrollably swallowed a mouthful of saliva. My 9th birthday. 4 years ago, I stood at the street corner noodle stall, clutching 2 yuan and 50 cents in my hand. I wanted a bowl of those noodles, but I couldn't afford it. Even those $2.50 were snatched away. I took a step back, my hands plunged into my pockets, clutching the 6 coins tightly. My breathing grew rapid. Sister. I looked up at Chen Xiao. I won't eat. An egg costs 1 yuan. Noodles cost 2 yuan. I only have 6 yuan. If I eat, I won't have money for tomorrow's bed. My voice was trembling. I was afraid Chen Xiao would suddenly change her expression, afraid she would pick up her chopsticks and rap my knuckles. Chen Xiao walked up to me. She crouched down and pulled my hand out of my pocket. She pried open my tightly clenched fingers one by one. She didn't take the coin away. She took my hand and had me sit in the chair. She placed the chopsticks in my hand. Listen carefully, Xiaoman. She looked into my eyes. In this house, sleeping is free, drinking water is free, getting sick is also free. She pointed at the noodles in the bowl. This bowl of longevity noodles is always free. I lowered my head and looked at the 2 eggs in the bowl. Tears fell into the bowl, mixing with the noodle soup. I picked up my chopsticks, grabbed a strand of noodles, and stuffed it into my mouth. The noodles were scalding hot. I didn't spit them out, I chewed them in big, voracious mouthfuls. I swallowed every last noodle. I took another big bite of the egg. This was the first longevity noodles I had eaten in my 13 years of life. I didn't have to collect scrap. I didn't have to get beaten. No need to worry about keeping accounts. I looked up at Chinshao across from me. Sister, I also have something free I want to give you. Chinshao was taken aback for a moment. What is it? I put down my chopsticks, stood up, and walked over to her. I reached out my hands and hugged her tightly. Sister, thank you. This is the first time in my life I've ever given something away for free. No need for change. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. A week before the college entrance exam, the class beauty claimed that drinking her family's secret herbal concoction would boost intelligence and guarantee top scores. Fearing it might affect the exam, I desperately urged everyone not to drink unknown potions, earning the class beauty's resentment. As a result, the entire class isolated me. Led by her, they hurled insults and bullied me, calling me selfish for blocking their path to high scores. In the end, I staggered out of school in a daze and was hit by a truck. Reborn, I vow never to speak up again. This time, I won't stop you. Let's see whether you soar to heaven or plunge into hell. I suddenly opened my eyes, fine beads of sweat forming on my forehead. The noisy sounds of the classroom flooded into my ears like a tide, and sunlight slanted through the window, spilling onto my desk, illuminating the open college entrance exam mock test papers. This can't be. I looked down at my completely unharmed hands, fingertips trembling slightly. Just moments ago, or perhaps in another time and space, I had been lying in a pool of blood, feeling life slowly drain from my body. Jim, what are you spacing out for? My deskmate John nudged me with his elbow. Tina's about to start handing out the medicine. I slowly raised my head, my gaze passing over rows of desks to land on the girl in a white dress standing in front of the lectern. Tina, the class beauty, was holding a thermos flask, a sweet smile on her face. The scene feels so familiar that it even makes me question my existence. Classmates, this is a secret recipe passed down from my grandfather, specifically for boosting brain power and energy. Tina's voice was clear and melodious. My dad stayed up all night to brew it. Just a small cup every day, and I guarantee everyone will perform exceptionally well in the college entrance exams. Because my fists were clenched so tightly, my nails dug deep into my palms, I had been reborn, returned to that day that changed everything. 1 week before the college entrance exams, the day Tina distributed the miracle potion. In my previous life, I had earnestly tried to dissuade everyone from drinking the mysterious potion, even secretly pouring some of it away, and the result, I was ostracized by the whole class, led by Tina, who hurled insults at me, calling me selfish and accusing me of preventing others from achieving high scores. In the end, I ran out of the school in a daze and was hit by a truck. No good deed goes unpunished. This time, I won't make the same mistake again. I sneered inwardly, watching my classmates scramble to gather around me. First, Leo, the class sports committee member, was the first to rush to the podium. I'm the worst at physics. Perfect timing to boost my brain power. Tina poured out a small cup of brown liquid with a smile, instantly filling the classroom with a peculiar herbal medicine smell mixed with some pungent sweetness. This smell is so strong. Class monitor Judy wrinkled her nose. Good medicine tastes bitter, Tina said nonchalantly. My grandfather said it's brewed from dozens of rare herbs, so of course the smell is special. I sat quietly in my seat, watching coldly. In my past life, this was when I stood up and loudly warned everyone not to drink unknown medicine, but now, I just lowered my head slightly, pretending to read without a word. Jim, aren't you going to have a cup? Tina suddenly looked at me, a sharp glint flashing in her eyes. My silence made me stand out awkwardly in the chattering atmosphere. The whole class turned to look at me. I looked up and gave a harmless smile. My stomach hasn't been very good lately, and the doctor said traditional Chinese medicine isn't suitable for me. Tisk, coward, I think you're just scared, Leo scoffed, tilted his head back, and down the medicine. Wow, it's a bit bitter, but after drinking it, my whole body feels warm, and my mind instantly feels much clearer. Really, is it that amazing? A few classmates approached, half believing, half doubting. Why would I lie to you? Leo patted his chest. I feel like I can solve that last challenging physics problem now. This sentence was like a shot of adrenaline, drawing more classmates toward Tina. I watched them one by one drink that unknown liquid, feeling utterly indifferent inside. In my past life, I saw them as classmates, as friends, but in the end, they were all just a pack of ungrateful wolves, not worthy of the slightest sympathy. Jim, are you really not drinking? Wendy, the class monitor, walked over with a cup in hand. Everyone else has had some. It's perfectly safe. I shook my head. I really can't drink it. You all go ahead. I need to pick up some stomach. Medicine from the infirmary later. Wendy pouted and turned to leave. Whether it was my imagination or not, I noticed her steps seemed a bit hurried, and her cheeks were flushed with an unusual redness. The class bell's charisma was truly unmatched. In less than half an hour, out of the 43 students in the class, everyone except me had drunk Tina's miracle potion. The classroom was filled with a strange, excited atmosphere. Voices grew louder, and some even began dancing as if they'd already been admitted to Tsinghua or Peking University. I can clearly feel myself getting smarter. John suddenly slammed the table and stood up. I remember all the math formulas now. Me too, Tina. This medicine is amazing. Praise came from all sides as Tina stood on the podium, proud as a peacock spreading its tail. As for me, I silently watched their performance, really wanting to give each of them an Oscar statuette. After 3 years as classmates, I just realized they had such talent for acting. Quiet, everyone. Teacher Lucas, the homeroom teacher, pushed the door open and frowned at the noisy classroom. What's going on, teacher? We drank Tina's family's secret brain-boosting tonic, and the effects are incredible, a classmate excitedly reported. Teacher Lucas looked at Tina suspiciously. What medicine? Was it approved by the school? It's just a family recipe, something to drink like water. Tina stammered, mumbling under her breath, clearly lacking confidence. I lowered my head to hide the sneer at the corner of my mouth. Judging by her reaction, there was definitely something wrong with that medicine. Only these foolish, ungrateful wolves would blindly trust her and overlook such details. Nonsense, Teacher Lucas said sternly. How can you take random medicine before the college entrance exams? What if there are side effects? Teacher, we really feel great, Leo protested loudly. I was sleepy before, but now I just want to do the test. Papers. Teacher Lucas scanned the classroom, facing these fervent gazes, as if she still wanted to say something, but the class bell rang. She could only wave her hand. Let's start the class first. We'll deal with this after class. Tina, come to my office after school. The class began, but no one was paying attention. The students who had taken the medicine were clearly in an abnormally excited state. Some kept shaking their legs. Some muttered to themselves quietly, and others occasionally let out eerie laughter. Soon, it was time for school to end. Tina was called to the office, and fewer people remained in the classroom. I packed my bag and prepared to leave. Jim, Wendy suddenly stopped me. Why didn't you take the medicine? Do you have any idea what you're missing? Looking at her twisted expression, I said softly, I just have a sensitive stomach. You don't look well. Should we go to the infirmary? I'm fine, better than ever. Wendy laughed shrilly. I feel terrifyingly strong now, like I could ace every test. Without continuing to talk to her, I walked out of the classroom. Let's just wait and see. The sunlight streamed through the classroom window onto my desk, and as I stared at the bright patches of light, my fingertips unconsciously tapped on the tabletop. It had been 3 days since I was reborn, and I still wondered every morning when I woke up if it was all just a long dream. Jim, let me borrow your notes. I looked up and saw Wendy standing in front of my desk, with heavy dark circles under her eyes. Ever since she drank Tina's medicine, she had been in a strange state of excitement, reportedly sleeping only 3 or 4 hours a day but full of energy. Here, I handed over the notebook without saying anything more. Thanks. She took the notes, the edges of her nails showing obvious bite marks. I recited the periodic table 10 times last night, and now my mind feels unusually clear. I nodded without adding anything. Amid the rustling of pages and hushed whispers in the classroom, the atmosphere remained quite lively. After all, this was a group of people who were particularly confident about the college entrance exams. Tina's seat was at the front of the classroom. Today, she wore a light blue dress with her hair tied into a high ponytail, looking neat and fresh. Who would have thought that such a glamorous-looking girl would have led the charge in bullying me in my past life, ultimately driving me to a mental breakdown and causing me to dash into the street. Class, there are only 4 days left until the college entrance exams. Mr. Lucas, our homeroom teacher, tapped the blackboard. Today, we'll go over a few key problem types. Please focus. I forced myself to shift my gaze away from Tina and toward the blackboard. In my past life, by this time, I had already been isolated by the entire class, enduring daily taunts and cruel pranks, but now, I was like a ghost, sitting quietly in the corner of the classroom, with no one paying me much attention, and that suited me just fine. The bell rang for the end of class, and as soon as Teacher Lucas left the classroom, Tina stood up, holding that familiar thermos in her hand. Who hasn't had their medicine today? My dad brewed a new batch, and it's even more effective. Her voice was as sweet as honey. Several classmates immediately gathered around her, including the usually cautious class monitor, Judy. How have you all been feeling these past few days? Judy adjusted her glasses and asked hesitantly. It's Absolutely amazing. Leo jumped up from the back row and rushed to the podium in a few quick steps. After drinking it, I could understand physics problems at a glance. My mock exam score was 20 points higher than last time. I lowered my head, pretending to organize my books, but my ears were perked up listening to their conversation. Leo did perform well. But what he didn't mention was that he had barely slept these past 2 days, staying up all night solving problems. Then, give me another cup today, Judy said to Tina. Tina smiled as she poured out a small cup of dark brown liquid, and the classroom was once again filled with that peculiar medicinal aroma. Opportunity knocks but once. Jim, are you really not going to reconsider? Tina suddenly looked at me, her eyes probing. You're the only one in the class who hasn't had it yet. Can't help it. My stomach ulcer is acting up. Forget about the herbal medicine. The doctor said I need to avoid all irritating foods for 2 weeks. I lied without batting an eye. I really envy you guys. Tina pursed her lips, looking somewhat skeptical, but she didn't press further. She turned to the other students and continued distributing her miracle potion. In this life, without my interference, Tina smoothly handed out the medicine to everyone. It was a case of one willing to hit, the other willing to be hit. I wouldn't say a word. Learning to respect others' choices is what I truly need to master. On my way home, I passed by a pharmacy with an advertisement in the window that read, "Final sprint for the college entrance exam, calm the mind and nourish the brain." I stopped and stared at the ad for a moment before suddenly laughing. In my past life, I fought desperately to protect those classmates, only to be repaid with betrayal and harm. This time around, I choose to stand by and watch. Let's see whether you'll soar straight to heaven or plunge into the abyss. When I got home, my phone buzzed with a message from the class group chat. Tina had posted a group photo of the entire class with the caption, "Drink the miracle potion, victory in the college entrance exam is ours." In the photo, everyone was smiling brightly, including me. Of course, only I knew the true meaning behind my smile. I stared at the photo for a long time before turning off my phone. Outside the window, the sun was setting. What a perfect time to watch the fiery clouds. Tomorrow is the final sprint before the college entrance exam, and I'm eager to see what the ultimate outcome of this miracle drug will be for them. I closed my eyes, and memories from my past life flooded in. The sounds of insults, mockery, the screeching of brakes on the first day of the college entrance exam. The morning sun was exceptionally bright. I stood at the gate of the exam site, clutching my admission ticket, watching as my classmates arrived one by one. Most of them had dark circles under their eyes, their faces as pale as paper, looking completely different from their hyperactive selves just 3 days ago. I walked over and noticed Wendy's eyes were bloodshot, her fingers constantly twisting the hem of her clothes. Leo was drenched in sweat, repeatedly wiping his forehead with a tissue. "What's wrong with you two?" I asked deliberately, though I already had a rough idea in my mind. "I don't know. I've been feeling awful since last night." Wendy's voice trembled slightly. "I'm so dizzy and keep feeling nauseous." Leo gritted his teeth. "Same here. I feel completely drained, like I have a fever. Damn it, of all days to feel like this." I looked around and noticed many classmates showing similar symptoms. Some leaned against the wall with their eyes closed, others kept drinking water, and a few girls were quietly sobbing. Tina was the last to arrive. She wore a red dress today, saying it was for good luck, but her pale face made the bright red appear particularly jarring. Her steps were unsteady, and she even stumbled slightly when reaching the front of the line. "Tina, are you okay?" Judy studied her. "I'm fine, just a bit nervous." Tina forced a smile, but I noticed her pupils were unusually dilated, and her fingers were trembling slightly. The bell rang, and we lined up to enter the examination hall. As we went through security, Leo's legs suddenly gave out, and he almost fell to his knees, caught by the invigilator. "Are you all right, student? Do you need to go to the infirmary?" the teacher asked with concern. "No, I'm fine," Leo practically shouted, then lowered his voice. "It's just a bit of low blood sugar." The teacher eyed him suspiciously but eventually let him pass. My seat is in the middle of the classroom, with Wendy in front of me and Tina to my right front. When the test papers were handed out, the classroom was so quiet you could hear the sound of pencils scratching against the paper. I glanced at the test paper. The essay topic was choice. I sneered inwardly and began answering the questions calmly. In less than half an hour, unusual signs started appearing. First, it was Wendy. She kept shifting in her seat, pressing her left hand tightly against her temple while her right hand wrote slower and slower. Then it was Tina, who sat rigidly straight in front of me, but I could see her shoulders trembling slightly. The most severe case was Leo. 1 hour into the exam, he suddenly raised his hand. "Teacher, may I go to the restroom?" The invigilator frowned. "There's only 1 hour left. Can you hold on?" Leo's face turned from pale to green, with beads of sweat breaking out on his forehead. I can't hold it anymore. The teacher had no choice but to call an external invigilator to accompany him to the restroom. As Leo left, his steps were unsteady, and he nearly knocked over 2 desks. My pen glided smoothly across the exam paper, yet a storm of complex emotions churned within me. In my previous life, failing to make the right choice had led to my tragic death. This time, my choice was correct. But what about yours? Tina suddenly let out a faint whimper. She clutched her head, her shoulders trembling violently. The invigilator walked over and whispered a few questions, but she only shook her head in response. When the final bell rang, the classroom erupted in sighs of despair. Wendy's essay was only half finished, with several noticeable water stains on the paper, like fallen tears. Tina's answer sheet had a large blank section, another incomplete attempt. It's over. Completely over. Leo crouched in a corner of the hallway after leaving the exam room, gripping his hair with both hands. I didn't even touch the last 3 major questions. My mind just went blank. Judy's face didn't look any better. I completely forgot all the classical poetry fill in the blanks, even though I could recite them backwards just yesterday. The students' complaints rose and fell around me, but I remained silent. Tina, surrounded in the middle, grew increasingly pale. Tina, didn't you say this medicine would last until the end of the college entrance exams? Wendy suddenly demanded, her voice hoarse. Why did it fail in just the first test? I don't know either, Tina stammered in reply. Maybe it's because everyone's constitution is different. I barely slept last night, a boy interjected. My heart was racing like crazy all night, and even sleeping pills didn't help. Me too, same here. The voices of agreement grew louder, and the students' gazes gradually focused on Tina, filled with suspicion and anger. It might not necessarily be because of the medicine. Tina took a step back, her lips trembling. I drank more than any of you. How could I possibly harm you all? But you never mentioned what side effects this medicine might have. Wendy suddenly raised her voice. We drank it without knowing anything. Tina's face turned pale in an instant. Standing on the outskirts of the crowd, I watched the escalating conflict with cold detachment. In my past life, they had ganged up on me the same way. Only back then, it was because I had stopped them from drinking the medicine, ruining their future prospects. All right, Judy stepped in to mediate. We still have math this afternoon. Everyone, calm down and go rest for now. The crowd reluctantly dispersed, but I noticed the way some classmates looked at Tina had changed. It was the look of shattered trust, just like the way they had looked at me in my past life. The afternoon math exam was even more brutal. Within half an hour, 3 students had to be helped out of the exam hall due to dizziness and nausea. Wendy suddenly burst into tears while working on the second major question and was taken out by the invigilator for comfort. Tina lasted until the end, but her answer sheet had large blank sections, and her hands trembled so badly when handing it in that she could barely hold the pen. When the exams ended the next day, the class group chat fell into complete silence, as if everyone had collectively vanished. Just as I expected, everything was unfolding according to my predictions, but this was only the beginning. When the college entrance exam results come out, when they realize their lives have been ruined by that so-called miracle potion, that's when the real storm will hit, and I just needed to wait quietly. On the 3rd day after the college entrance exams ended, the class group chat suddenly exploded. Lying in bed, I scrolled through the messages that kept popping up on my phone. The first one was from Leo at 3 a.m. Is anyone else in so much pain they can't sleep? Immediately after, over a dozen replies flooded in. It hurts so much, like I've been beaten up. I had a fever of 39 degrees and went to the hospital. My urine was brown, and the doctor asked me what I'd eaten. I slowly scrolled through the screen, my lips curling into an involuntary smile. These classmates who had once bullied me alongside Tina were now getting their well-deserved karma. The messages in the class group chat had already exceeded 99 plus, and the content gradually shifted from complaints to direct accusations against Tina. Finally, someone directly at her, at Tina, what's the deal with that medicine you gave us? The doctor said I have drug poisoning. A few minutes later, Tina replied, there's no way the medicine could be problematic, it might just be a personal constitution issue. I'm feeling terrible too. This response was like a drop of water falling into hot oil, instantly sparking an even more intense reaction. Bullshit. The whole class is having problems, and you're telling me it's about constitution. What exactly are the ingredients in that medicine? Don't you owe everyone an explanation? Tina didn't reply anymore. I turned off my phone and walked to the window. The summer sunlight was still bright, but I knew that in some hospital wards, my classmates were lying on sickbeds, paying the price for their gullibility and greed for shortcuts. The next day, I happened to pass by The downtown hospital, at the entrance of the inpatient department, I ran into Wendy's mother. Her eyes were red and swollen, clutching a stack of payment slips in her hand. "Auntie, how is Wendy doing?" I stepped forward and asked. She looked up at me, barely recognizing me as Wendy's classmate. "The doctor said it's acute liver and kidney damage caused by medication. She needs to be hospitalized for observation." This child, why is she so foolish? I followed Mrs. Jane to the ward. Wendy lay on the hospital bed, her face sallow, and 4 tube inserted into the back of her hand. Seeing me, she managed a weak smile. "You're so lucky you didn't take the medicine." I sat down on the chair by the bed. "I heard that the medicine isn't free." Wendy's eyes flickered for a moment before she nodded. "Tina said the ingredients are extremely rare, like wild ginseng, cordyceps." I gave her all the scholarship money I'd saved. Her voice grew quieter until it turned into a sob, looking at the prominent veins on her thin wrists. I felt not an ounce of sympathy. The image of her viciously cursing at me in my past life seemed to flash before my eyes. "What about the others?" I asked. "Leo is in the ward upstairs with abnormal liver function. Judy's symptoms are milder, but she still needs daily injections." Wendy suddenly grabbed my wrist. "Jim, do you think Tina knew the medicine was problematic?" Instead of answering directly, I asked in return, "What do you think?" Wendy let go of my hand, her eyes dimming. "I only found out yesterday that she didn't tell the teacher the truth. When Mr. Lucas asked her for it, she said it was all used up." When leaving the hospital, I saw a familiar figure in the outpatient hall. Tina, wearing a mask and a baseball cap, was hurrying toward the pharmacy. She didn't notice me, but I clearly saw the test results and several boxes of liver-protecting medicine in her hand. When I got home, there was a new message in the class group chat. Judy posted a photo of a lab test report, with the diagnosis section clearly stating, "Suspected drug-induced liver injury, hospitalization recommended." Below it, she tagged Tina. "Don't you owe everyone an explanation?" This time, Tina replied quickly, "I drank the same amount of medicine, and I'm suffering too. The medicine was my grandfather's prescription, and it's never caused problems before. Maybe you all ate something else." This evasive response completely ignited the classmates' fury. Dozens of replies flooded in instantly, some calling her heartless, others demanding refunds, and a few even threatening to report her to the school. I turned off my phone and stepped onto the balcony, taking a deep breath. The summer night breeze carried the scent of flowers, and the city lights twinkled like stars in the distance. Everything was going even smoother than I'd imagined. Every word of Tina's defense was digging her deeper into the abyss, while those classmates who had once hurt me were now enduring torment far worse than what I'd suffered in my past life. The only difference is, this time, I only need to watch quietly. Outside the window, a bolt of lightning streaked across the night sky, and the distant rumble of thunder could be heard. The wind howled through the building, heralding the coming storm. On the day the college entrance exam results were announced, the class group chat was first eerily silent, then exploded with activity. I sat in front of the computer, looking at my score, 625 points. Not bad. This result was enough to get into the university I had my heart set on. I closed the results page and clicked on the constantly flashing group chat. I scored over 80 points lower than in the simulations. My math score is only half of what I usually get. It's over. I didn't even reach the second-tier cutoff line. Desperate messages kept flooding the screen. I counted. Almost all my classmates were complaining about unusually low scores. Those who had laughed at me alongside Tina in my past life were now tasting the bitter fruits of their own making. The sun scorched the earth, and the distant sound of cicadas filled the air. Such weather, paired with such anger, couldn't have been more fitting. At 3 p.m., in the residential area where Tina lived, from a distance, a crowd could be seen gathered around her building, about 20 students and a dozen or so parents. Leo stood at the front, pressing the doorbell forcefully. I found a spot under the shade of a tree, neither too close nor too far, where I could observe the situation clearly without getting involved. "Tina, come out, refund, pay for the medical bills, you've ruined my child's future." The shouts grew louder, and several neighbors peeked out from their windows to see what was happening. Finally, the door of Tina's house opened, but it wasn't her who came out. It was a middle-aged man, presumably her father. "Parents, students, please calm down." The man tried to soothe the crowd, but his voice was quickly drowned out. "Your daughter sold fake medicine that harmed people. My son is still in the hospital. You will be held legally responsible." Tina's father had beads of sweat forming on his forehead. He turned and shouted something, and only then did Tina timidly appear at the door. Her face was pale, with heavy dark circles under her eyes, completely devoid of her usual charm as the class beauty. "I really didn't know it would be like this." Her voice trembled. "I'm a victim too." "Bullshit," Leo roared. Raising his phone, everyone look, this is the test report I got from a professional institution. Her so-called miracle drug contains banned ingredients. It damages the nervous system. The crowd erupted in gasps. I narrowed my eyes, never expecting Leo to have this up his sleeve. It seems anger really can unleash people's potential. Tina's father's face instantly turned ashen. This can't be. And one more thing. Wendy's mother pushed her way to the front, waving a stack of receipts in her hand. My daughter saved every penny to give you 800 yuan for medicine, and what did you give her in return? Poison. Tina shrank behind her father, her lips trembling too much to speak. Everyone, please. Tina's father raised his voice. There must be some misunderstanding. That prescription was bought online, and the seller claimed it was pure traditional Chinese medicine. His words only poured fuel on the fire. The parents erupted in outrage. Some called them frauds. Others shouted about calling the police, and a few, overcome with emotion, tried to rush forward. Bought online. Leo's voice twisted with anger. Your daughter claimed it was a secret family recipe, took so much money from us. Tina's father wiped his sweat. The cost really isn't low. Scammer, a boy shouted. I checked, that so-called smart drug can be bought in bulk online for just a few dozen bucks. As the truth was peeled back layer by layer, the crowd's fury burned hotter. I looked at Tina's pale face, remembering how arrogantly she had led the bullying against me in my past life. Now, it was her turn to taste what it felt like to be condemned by everyone. Refund, pay for the medical bills, call the police on them. The shouts grew louder and louder. Tina's father tried to explain, but no one would listen. Suddenly, Leo rushed forward and shoved Tina's father. Do you even know that because of that damn medicine, I missed my military academy physical? That was my lifelong dream. The push seemed to open the floodgates. As several boys followed suit, the scene instantly descended into chaos. Some were pulling at Tina's clothes, while others pointed at her father and shouted curses. Tina's mother rushed out from the house to protect her daughter but was shoved aside by an enraged parent. Stop, everyone, stop. Tina's father tried to restore order, but it was futile amid the chaos. Tina suddenly broke free from the crowd and turned to run toward the stairwell. Leo and two other boys immediately gave chase. Don't run, you must give us an explanation today. I stood still, listening to the hurried footsteps and shouts coming from upstairs. Suddenly, a sharp scream pierced the air, followed by the dull thud of something heavy tumbling down the stairs. Everyone fell silent for a moment before swarming toward the stairwell. I followed slowly and saw Tina lying at the turn of the stairs, her right leg twisted at an unnatural angle, her face covered in blood. The three boys chasing her stood a few steps away, their faces pale. I didn't touch her, Leo stammered. She slipped on her own. Tina's mother let out a heart-wrenching scream and rushed toward her daughter. Someone shouted to call an ambulance, while others began quietly backing away. The once ferocious crowd now deflated like a punctured balloon. The wail of an ambulance siren grew louder as it approached. I retreated to the edge of the crowd, coldly observing how this farce would end. Tina was still moaning as she was lifted onto the stretcher, her father boarding the ambulance after her. Before leaving, he glared viciously at everyone present. None of you will get away with this. I'm calling the police. But no one was intimidated. One parent sneered. The police? Good, let them investigate your fake medicine scam. After the ambulance drove away, the crowd gradually dispersed, but angry murmurs continued. I overheard someone talking about organizing a joint complaint, another about filing a lawsuit, and others calculating their losses from medical bills and tutoring fees. I turned and walked away, my heart utterly calm. In my previous life, when they drove me to a mental breakdown and I got into a car accident, no one had called an ambulance for me. Back home, I turned on my computer. The class group chat was in chaos. Someone had uploaded a video of the incident, others were discussing legal liabilities, and some were just relieved they hadn't gotten involved. Leo posted a long message detailing how Tina had fallen down the stairs on her own, clearly terrified of being held accountable. I shut down the computer and stepped out onto the balcony. Night had fallen, and the city lights twinkled like stars in the distance. This revenge had gone even more smoothly than I'd imagined. Without me lifting a finger, they'd already turned on each other. Tina's leg was reportedly broken, and her face would be scarred. For someone as vain as her, that was probably worse than death. As for the classmates who had joined her in bullying me, they now faced physical injuries, ruined college entrance exams, and potential legal troubles. The play isn't over yet, but my part in it is no longer needed. The seeds have been sown, let them grow naturally now. Outside the window, the summer night breeze carries a warm breath. I take a deep breath, cherishing every little moment since my rebirth. When the morning sunlight streams through the gaps in the curtains, my phone has already vibrated over a dozen times. Squinting, I swipe open the screen to see 99 plus unread messages in the class group chat, with a news link pinned at the top. College entrance exam student sells smart pills causing mass poisoning among classmates. Case filed over banned ingredients. I clicked on the link and saw a familiar class photo with blurred faces as the accompanying image. The article detailed the incident, even mentioning the specifics of Tina falling down the stairs. The comment section was already in chaos, some cursing Tina for being heartless, others sympathizing with the affected students, and some debating the school's responsibility. I got up and opened the curtains. Down on the street, a few people with cameras were asking the neighborhood security guard something. Everything was under control, and things were unfolding exactly as I had anticipated. In the class group chat, reactions varied. Some were worried about their privacy being exposed, others were angry at the media for exaggerating the facts, and a few were discussing whether to collectively give an interview to reveal the truth. Leo sent a voice message, his voice hoarse. The police questioned me last night about Tina falling down the stairs. I put down my phone and walked into the bathroom. The reflection in the mirror showed a calm face, devoid of any emotional fluctuations. After finishing my morning routine, I turned on my computer and searched for related news. The incident had already topped the trending list on social media, with the hashtag #classbeauty sells drugs harms classmates hashtag surpassing 200 million views. Major media outlets were competing to report on it, with some even digging up the health supplement company run by Tina's father, questioning its long-term regulatory violations. A segment from an interview caught my attention. In the footage, Wendy's mother, her eyes red, recounted how her daughter had gone from being in the top 20 of her grade to her current state, lying in a hospital bed. The doctor said her liver damage might be permanent. The haggard mother choked up. She's only 18. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was our homeroom teacher. Mr. Lucas, Jim, are you at home? The school requires all students to fill out an incident statement form. I'll have someone deliver it to you. I replied with my address and then continued browsing the news. As the incident unfolded, more details emerged. Tina's so-called family secret recipe was actually purchased from an illegal drug forum. The powder, which cost less than 10 yuan per packet, was sold to classmates for prices ranging from 500 to 2,000 yuan. Some students even borrowed money to buy the drugs and now face both debt and a health crisis. At noon, the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Judy standing outside, looking haggard. After opening the door, she handed me a file folder. This is a form the school requires us to fill out. It needs to be returned by tomorrow. I took the folder and noticed her hand trembling slightly. Are you okay? Judy gave a bitter smile. I just came back from the hospital. My liver enzyme levels are 5 times the normal range, the doctor said. Her voice suddenly choked up. It might affect my ability to have children in the future. I didn't know what to say, so I remained silent. Judy wiped her eyes. Leo might be prosecuted for pushing Tina's father. She turned to leave but paused. By the way, the school has revoked the graduation qualifications of Tina and several students involved in the incident, including Leo and Wendy. I watched Judy's retreating figure, noticeably thinner than I remembered. Back inside, I opened the file folder, which contained an incident report form requiring detailed records of whether I had participated in purchasing drugs, been involved in the altercation, etc. At the end, there was a bolded note. The information provided will serve as evidence for the police investigation. Please fill it out. Truthfully, I slowly completed the form. I hadn't purchased any drugs, hadn't participated in the conflict, and my knowledge of the incident was limited to messages in the class group chat. In the evening, I turned on the TV, and the local news was covering the incident. On the screen, the entrance of Tina's family company was sealed off, and law enforcement officers were carrying out boxes of documents. The reporter mentioned that the case had escalated into a criminal investigation, with the possibility of more people being involved. The TV switched to another scene, an interview outside the hospital. Tina sat in a wheelchair, her right leg in a cast and her face covered with bandages. Facing the camera, she cried pitifully. I really didn't know the medicine was problematic. I'm a victim too, the reporter asked sharply. But you sold it to your classmates at high prices, making tens of thousands in profit. How do you explain that? Tina's sobbing suddenly stopped, her eyes darting nervously. That was just covering the costs. A roar suddenly came from off-screen. Liar. A bottle of mineral water flew into the frame, hitting Tina on the shoulder. The scene immediately became chaotic, and the cameraman hastily cut the signal. I turned off the TV and walked to the window. Night fell, and the city lights lit up one after another. This storm was getting bigger and bigger, a little beyond my expectations. I wonder if any of you now have even a hint of regret. My phone vibrated, interrupting my thoughts. The class group had a new message. Again, this time a shared document link titled Tina's Crimes. After opening it, it detailed her various misdeeds from freshman to senior year: cheating on exams, spreading rumors about classmates, stealing class funds, true and false, everything was there. The document concluded with, "This kind of scum doesn't deserve to live." I frowned and looked through the edit history. Finding that at least a dozen people had participated in the modifications, the comments section was the most insane. Some suggested going to the hospital to demand an explanation, some uploaded Tina's hospital room number, and some posted pictures of knives. This rhetoric has gone beyond anger and is teetering on the edge of danger. I turned off my phone and walked to the desk. In my past life, when they drove me to despair, did anyone speak up for me? Now that they're reaping what they sowed, why should I feign compassion? Outside the window, another bolt of lightning streaked across the night sky, followed by the rumble of distant thunder. An anonymous person posted Tina's detailed hospitalization information in the class group chat. Municipal Hospital East Wing, 7th floor, room 712, right leg fracture, mild concussion, expected hospitalization for 2 weeks. The information even included her daily examination schedule. At this moment, in room 712, the door was half open. Through the gap, Tina could be seen leaning against the headboard, her right leg in a cast and suspended, with gauze patches on her face. She was looking down at her phone, brows furrowed. There were no flowers or get-well cards by the bedside, only her mother mechanically peeling an apple. At the end of the hallway, hushed voices came from the water dispenser room, 2 nurses chatting. "That girl in room 712 is really pitiful. She had nightmares again last night," said the younger nurse. The older nurse curled her lip in disdain. Pitiful. The news said how many classmates she harmed by selling them drugs this morning. Another one of her classmates was admitted to room 715, liver and kidney failure, just 18 years old. Ward 715 was not far away, its door closed but the window revealing several figures inside. On the bench downstairs at the hospital, Wendy's mother was reading a medical report, her shoulders trembling uncontrollably. A corner of the report revealed several stark words: "Poor prognosis. Requires long-term treatment." The July sun was scorching and blinding. The class group chat had hundreds more unread messages. A newly created anonymous group link was being repeatedly shared, titled Seeking Justice. I clicked the link, and there were already over 20 people in the group. The first pinned message was a photo of a lab report. All liver function indicators were in the red. The poster wrote, "The doctor said I can never drink alcohol again in my life, and that bitch is still playing the victim." The replies below grew increasingly intense. "My parents wasted over 10,000 yuan on tutoring fees for nothing. Wasn't her house sealed off? What about the money? Just paying compensation isn't enough. I want her to taste what it's like to wish for death." Scrolling further down, someone posted a photo of Tina's hospital room, clearly taken without permission. The latest messages were discussing specific action plans. Her mom won't be there tomorrow afternoon, and the nursing shift changes at 2 o'clock. There are no surveillance cameras in the east stairwell. I'll bring the rope. Who has a camera? I turned off my phone and stood at the bus stop waiting. The road was bustling with traffic, and pedestrians hurried by, oblivious to the turbulent thoughts beneath a high school student's calm exterior. At that moment, the phone vibrated again. It was a notification from the anonymous group chat. Leo had sent a message: "Meet at the east gate of the hospital tomorrow at 2 p.m. Bring masks and hats. If you don't want to go, just ignore this." Immediately, 7 or 8 replies popped up. Some asked for specific plans, while others confirmed their attendance. The last message was from an unfamiliar account: "I brought pepper spray and zip ties. That bitch is gonna get what's coming to her." I closed the group chat and turned on the TV. The local news was following up on the high school student drug sales case. The screen showed the doors of Tina's family's health supplement company sealed shut with official notices. The reporter stated the case had been transferred to the prosecutors, and Tina's father might face charges for producing and selling counterfeit drugs. It's reported that 5 of the affected students have been hospitalized, with 2 in critical condition. Experts say the drugs involved contain banned substances that could cause permanent liver and kidney damage. I switched channels to an old movie. The male lead said, "Revenge is like a snowball. Once it starts rolling, it can't be stopped." The night was deep, and I lay in bed, listening to the occasional sound of cars passing by outside. What would happen at the hospital tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon? I turned over, no longer dwelling on the question. In my past life, when they had driven me to the brink, had anyone hesitated for even a moment? The phone screen lit up in the darkness, and the anonymous group chat had a new message. I glanced at it. It was Leo's final confirmation. "Proceed as planned tomorrow. Bring your gear, and don't register under your real name." I didn't reply. Just set the phone to silent and placed it on the nightstand. Once the gears of revenge start turning, there's no stopping them, and me, I only needed to be a quiet observer outside the window. A pale moon hung in the sky like a cold, indifferent night. At 1:45 p.m., I sat at my desk, the computer screen displaying the live surveillance feed from City Hospital. This wasn't hacking. Just the publicly accessible security system in the hospital lobby, viewable by anyone through the visitor portal on the official website. In the footage, the East Wing inpatient lobby bustled with activity. I adjusted the angle slightly and spotted a few masked young people standing near the elevators, though deliberately spread out. Their familiar silhouettes and postures were unmistakable: Leo, Judy, and 3 other boys from our class. My phone screen lit up with the latest message from the anonymous group chat: in position, awaiting signal. The sender was Leo. On the computer monitor, Leo checked his phone and gestured to the others. They entered the elevators in small groups, and someone pressed the button for the 7th floor. I switched to the 7th floor hallway camera. The image was slightly blurry but clear enough to make out details. At 2:03, the elevator doors opened. Leo was the first to step out, glancing around before quickly heading toward room 712. The others followed closely, with Judy bringing up the rear. Constantly looking back over her shoulder, I switched camera feeds to the surveillance footage outside room 712. Leo stopped at the door, pulled something from his backpack, and distributed it to the others. Then, he forcefully pushed the door open, and the 5 of them filed in one after another. There were no cameras inside the ward, but the corridor microphone picked up a sharp scream, followed by the dull thud of something heavy hitting the floor. A nurse rushed out from the duty station, looked toward room 712, hesitated for a moment, and then walked over. Just then, the door to room 712 suddenly swung open, and Judy dashed up to intercept the nurse, gesturing as if explaining something. The nurse frowned and shook her head. Judy abruptly grabbed the nurse's arm, and at the same time, Leo leaned up from the room, spraying something toward the nurse's face. The nurse covered her face and crouched down, while Leo and Judy quickly retreated into the ward and closed the door. I switched back to the lobby surveillance and saw the receptionist answering a phone call. Looking panicked, 2 minutes later, 3 security guards rushed toward the elevator. At the same time, the window of room 712 suddenly opened, and a dark figure plummeted from the 7th floor, accompanied by the sound of shattering glass. The surveillance footage shook violently as the crowd began to stir. I quickly switched to the hospital's external cameras and saw Tina lying on the lawn, the cast on her right leg shattered, her face covered in blood. Her hospital gown was torn to shreds, and there were clear ligature marks on her wrists. Security guards and medical staff swarmed the scene. Some were shouting into walkie-talkies, while others began performing CPR. In the distance, the sound of sirens grew louder and closer. I turned off the surveillance screen and picked up my phone. The anonymous group chat was in chaos. What's going on? Weren't we just supposed to scare her? Leo, are you out of your mind? The police are here. Everyone delete the records. The last message was from Leo. She deserved it. Then the group was disbanded, and all records vanished. I deleted all related records and apps from my phone and walked to the window. The summer sun was still bright, with a few sparrows hopping on the power lines. In the distance, 3 police cars sped toward the municipal hospital. The TV automatically switched to breaking news. Latest update: a violent assault occurred at the municipal hospital, where several teenagers broke into a ward and attacked a hospitalized girl. The victim fell from the 7th floor and is currently in critical condition. The screen cut to the hospital scene, where the reporter spoke rapidly. According to sources, all suspects involved are students previously affected by the smart drug incident, and the girl who fell is Lynn, suspected of selling banned substances. In the evening, the local news website updated the progress of the incident. 5 students involved in the case have been detained by the police, 2 of whom are minors. The victim, Lynn, remains in the intensive care unit in critical condition. The police stated that this case will be merged with the earlier smart drug case for investigation, and more individuals involved may be held accountable. My phone vibrated. It was a school-wide notification. All senior high school students must attend an emergency meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Absence is not permitted. I knew the play was nearing its end. Tomorrow, the school would announce disciplinary actions, the police would disclose investigation updates, and I would continue to play the role of the unnoticed bystander. The desk lamp cast my shadow on the wall, making it appear unusually tall. So this is the taste of revenge. No exhilaration as imagined, nor any guilt afterward, just like watching a movie whose ending was already known. Outside the window, a gust of wind rustled the leaves. What will everything be like when the sun rises tomorrow? Tina is dead. The Morning TV news announced the news in a calm tone. Lynn, the victim of yesterday's violent incident at the city hospital, died at 3 a.m. this morning after failed resuscitation due to severe injuries. The case has been upgraded from intentional injury to intentional homicide, and the 5 involved students will face more serious criminal charges. I turned off the TV and slowly chewed my breakfast bread. The bread was a bit dry, and I had to gulp down some water to swallow it. Outside the window, the sunlight was bright, a perfect day for a graduation ceremony. My phone kept vibrating, yet the class group chat remained eerily silent. While private messages exploded, I casually opened a few. All were panicked inquiries and statements distancing themselves. No one mentioned Tina, nor did anyone mourn. They only cared about whether they'd be implicated. I put on my school uniform and adjusted my collar in the mirror. The boy reflected in the glass had calm eyes, betraying no emotion. After all, I had faced life and death long before they did. 2 police cars were parked at the school gate, with uniformed officers checking student IDs. I handed mine over calmly, and after a brief glance, the officer let me through. The atmosphere in the auditorium was heavy. The principal stood on the podium, his face ashen. The usually chatty classmates were as quiet as a flock of quails today, each keeping their head down, afraid of being called out. Today was supposed to be our graduation ceremony. The principal's voice was hoarse, but due to the misconduct of certain students, it has now become a crisis management meeting. He scanned the room sternly. Students involved in yesterday's hospital incident, whether directly or indirectly, must report to the Academic Affairs Office immediately. The police have gathered sufficient evidence, and voluntary surrender may lead to reduced penalties. No one moved. The auditorium was so quiet that the hum of the air conditioning could be heard. The principal sighed and continued, "As for the other students, diplomas and records will be issued as usual. However, given the severity of this incident, the school has decided to cancel all group celebrations." After the meeting, the students hurriedly left as if fleeing a disaster. I leisurely packed my bag. Noticing Wendy's seat was empty, I heard her condition worsened last night, and she was transferred to the provincial hospital. Jim, Mr. Lucas, the homeroom teacher, called out to me, "Come here for a moment." I followed him into the office, where 2 plainclothes police officers were sitting. The older one looked up at me. "Are you Jim, from Class 2, Grade 12? "Yes," I nodded. "We're investigating Tina's case and have a few questions for you." He gestured for me to sit down. "What was your relationship with Tina like?" "Just regular classmates," I replied. "We didn't have any special interactions." The young officer flipped through his notebook. "Some classmates mentioned you never drank the herbal medicine Tina sold." "That's correct. I have a sensitive stomach and don't dare take traditional medicine," I answered without changing expression, "especially this kind of herbal medicine with unclear origins." And then, "Did you have any conflicts with Tina?" I shook my head. "No, I'm quite introverted and rarely participate in class activities." The 2 police officers exchanged glances. The older one continued asking, "Do you know who was involved in the hospital incident yesterday?" "I don't know." I looked directly into his eyes. "I was at home yesterday, preparing for university courses." They asked a few more questions, and I answered truthfully. I hadn't participated in any group discussions, hadn't been to the hospital, and my knowledge of the incident was limited to news reports. Every word was true, except for the omission of the most crucial part. I had foreseen all of this long ago. The officer closed his notebook. "All right. Thank you for your cooperation. If you remember any important leads, feel free to contact us anytime." As I walked out of the office, the campus was nearly empty. I passed by the bulletin board, still adorned with the college entrance exam celebration notices. Sadly, I was the only one from our class who made the list. When I got home, an email was waiting in my inbox. I opened it. It was an admission letter from the provincial university, the school I had dreamed of attending in my previous life. I stared at the screen for a long time, then calmly shut down the computer. In the evening, the local news updated the case progress. 3 more students have turned themselves in for the hospital violent death case. According to police, the number of people involved may exceed 10. The main suspect, Wang, and others will face charges of intentional homicide, with possible sentences exceeding 10 years. The scene shifts to Wendy's mother, lying on a bed in the provincial hospital, her face haggard. Our Wendy is also a victim. She now suffers from liver and kidney failure and will need lifelong treatment. Those kids were too impulsive. I turned off the TV and walked to the balcony. Night had fallen, and the city lights twinkled like stars. In my past life, by this time, I was already lying cold in the morgue, while those who killed me were celebrating their graduation. Now, our positions have completely reversed. My phone vibrated. It was the last message in the class group chat. Judy had posted, "I'm turning myself in. Being Leo's lookout makes me an accomplice too." I Hope the judge will be lenient since I'm still a minor. I deleted all the class-related messages and photos from my phone. Tomorrow, I will go to the provincial university to complete the enrollment procedures and start a brand new life. As for those who once hurt me, Leo will spend the best 10 years of his youth in prison. Wendy will struggle to survive with failing liver and kidneys. And the others involved in the violence will all have criminal records, their life trajectories forever altered. Not a single drop of blood stains my hands. On the desk, the university admission letter glowed softly under the lamp. I carefully tucked it into the drawer and turned off the light. Outside the window, a bright moon hung high in the sky. Tomorrow will be another new day. After hearing the second story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. After checking our college entrance exam scores, we all got into top-tier universities. Overjoyed, our classmates decided to celebrate by throwing a graduation party at the class beauty's house. I reminded them that some wild game are protected animals, but I was mercilessly mocked by everyone. What's the big deal about eating some wild game? We're the cream of the crop from top universities. Some people can't even afford 3 dishes in their lifetime, yet they still have the nerve to boss others around, to prevent everyone from breaking the law. I reported the class beauty's shop, which ruined everyone's graduation banquet. Humiliated, the class beauty was so furious that she set fire to her family's shop and ended up disfiguring herself, holding a grudge against me. Everyone tied me up in the lab and poured a bottle of sulfuric acid on me each, leading to my death by corrosion. The homeroom teacher, to protect the graduation rate, collaborated with parents to provide alibis for everyone in this second chance at life. When I saw my classmates discussing going to the class beauty's house for a celebratory feast featuring wild game, I smiled and waved my hand. I won't go, but I hope you all enjoy the meal. Classmates, to celebrate all of us getting into top-tier universities, my family's wild game shop just received a batch of premium goods, wild rabbits, pangolins, and freshly caught yellow-breasted buntings. Wow, a pangolin. I heard it's super nourishing. Lily, you're really something. The yellow breasted bunting is the legendary ginseng of the sky. Lily's family has some wild connections. Listening to their noisy discussions, I suddenly realized I had been reborn. Someone patted me on the shoulder. Jason, what are you spacing out for? Let's go. I immediately shook my head. I'm not going. I don't like eating game meat. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. I said, class rep, are you really going to be such an outsider? Lily went out of her way to arrange this graduation banquet, and you're not going. That's a slap in her face. Exactly. This might be the only chance you'll ever get to eat pangolin and yellow-breasted bunting. I smirked coldly. Have you heard of it too? Then don't you know it's a nationally protected animal? Eating it is illegal. Lily pouted in grievance. Do you look down on my family's restaurant? These game meats come from special channels, and no one actually cares. Rose gave me a push. That's enough. Jason, shut your filthy mouth and just follow me. She pushed me with such force that I nearly stumbled and fell. In my previous life, I warned them not to eat protected wildlife to avoid criminal charges and a permanent record. Any involvement in illegal activities would disqualify them from admission to top-tier universities. After studying for over a decade, it's not worth ruining your future just for the sake of appetite. I had good intentions, but ended up being splashed with sulfuric acid and dying a tragic death in this lifetime. If they still insist on going, I won't stop them. Seeing that I still refused, Rose frowned. You don't have to go, but you still need to pay your share. Lily already budgeted for your portion. I frowned. I never agreed to this. How can you force me to pay? Lily, did I ever say I was going to your shop? The classmates immediately grew anxious. Class decisions are made by majority rule. Why are you being so stingy? Lily has already given everyone a discount. Are you so poor you can't even afford this little amount? Lily's eyes were red with grievance. Jason, I know you've always had a problem with me, but this time I was just trying to help. I shook my head slightly. Good intentions, taking everyone to eat protected animals. How very kind of you. I won't be going. You can go if you want. As I turned to leave, Rose snatched my phone. Pay up. She tried to open it, but found it incorrect after entering her birthday. Did you change the password? Seeing her frown in confusion, I really don't understand where her confidence comes from. I used to be inseparable from her, simply because I was ranked first in our grade while she was second. We grew up together since childhood, attending the same school from kindergarten onward. Both our parents knew each other and urged me to take good care of her as a girl, but in her eyes, it turned into me being a lovesick sim secretly pining for her. I got my phone back and quietly turned on the recording. Lily, you guys are going to eat game meat, but I'm not joining. I can chip in for the bill if Needed, but how can you prove I'm not overpaying? Lily casually smiled. That's easy. I'll send you photos of the menu and the receipt to prove we didn't take an extra cent from you. All right. I nodded in agreement. Fine. I handed 200 yuan to Lily and turned to leave. The mocking laughter of my classmates echoed behind me. Who does she think she is? Just jealous of Lily's popularity. Some people will never amount to anything in their lives. I turned and stared at them. It was Alice and Helen. In my past life, they were the ones who led the charge in throwing sulfuric acid at me. Seeing the sharpness in my gaze, they immediately fell silent. Rose thought I had changed my mind. Holding her best friend Lily's hand, she looked at me smugly. Jason, if you kneel down and apologize to Lily now, we might consider taking you with us. I smiled and waved my hand. I won't be joining you. Enjoy your meal, instead of going home. I went straight to school. As I passed the school gate surveillance camera, I deliberately raised my face to make sure it captured me clearly. Principal, homeroom teacher, my results are out, and I came specifically to thank you for your guidance. The principal and homeroom teacher were delighted, pulling me aside for a long chat over tea. Meanwhile, my classmates were busy live streaming the scene on social media. Lily was the most dramatic, updating several posts in a row. In the 9-square grid photo, a large steaming iron pot sits at the center of the round table, labeled Secret Pandalin Stew. The caption reads, exclusive for the graduation celebration, my dad's specialty. Rose also posted a video where Lily, wearing disposable gloves, tears off a large piece of reddish-brown meat. This is freshly killed Chinese pandalin. The camera pans across the dining table, showing everyone eagerly holding their chopsticks, ready to dig in. I silently took a screenshot and saved it. After a while, Alice sent a video. Hand-catching buntings is so thrilling. In the shaky footage, 7 or 8 classmates walked toward the back hill with flashlights. Lily's voice was exceptionally clear. Let me show you something exciting. The video froze on a final shot of a massive bird-catching net, with several fluttering small birds trapped in it. I was instantly stunned. Eating nationally protected animals is already illegal, and they actually participated in capturing them. Suddenly, I received a voice message from Lily on my phone. Jason, 200 yuan isn't enough. Look at the bill. You need to add another 120 yuan. The bill included not only the Chinese pandalin but also the game experience fee for catching the yellow-breasted bunting. A total of 8 people participated. I gave a cold smile, too lazy to engage with her any further. The vibe on the social feed took another abrupt turn. Rose posted a video. #achievements in capturing nationally protected animals. Get. The accompanying image showed her pinching the wing of a yellow-breasted bunting, its beak still opening and closing. After a while, Lily actually uploaded the video directly to social media. In the video, she held a selfie stick, with classmates busy around the barbecue grill in the background. Witnessed the miraculous moment. Freshly killed ricebird barbecue. Rose's voice came from off-screen. Lily, how much sauce should we put on this? Put on more to cover up the fishy smell. She turned to the camera and winked. Some people still have time to regret now. I silently saved this video with a location tag. The homeroom teacher set down his teacup, and the moment he opened his moments, he was stunned. This is insane, absolutely insane. He picked up the phone and immediately contacted Rose. The phone rang for a long time before Rose finally answered. The homeroom teacher couldn't help but roar in anger. Are you out of your minds, eating a nationally protected first-class animal? This is a criminal offense. Rose had put the call on speaker, and everyone present couldn't help but freeze in shock. Teacher, we didn't know. Lily said they were farm-raised. The homeroom teacher was so angry she stomped her feet. Then why did you claim they were wild? Everyone exchanged glances, and the atmosphere instantly froze. The principal stood nearby, sensing something was amiss. Student Jason, what's going on? The call was immediately hung up on the other end. Rose angrily threw the meat skewer in her hand to the ground. Jason went to tattle. The classmates were seething with anger. He just can't stand to see us doing well. Lily fanned the flames from the sidelines. I told you he had it in for us. What a petty man. Now look, he's screwed us all over. Come on, let's go settle the score with him. They ran into me just as they reached the school gate. Alice grabbed me by the collar. You sneaky little rat. How dare you snitch to the teacher? I calmly pried his hand off. I didn't say anything. Lily's eyes were red, her voice trembling. Who else could it be but you? You're the one who kept saying eating game meat is illegal. Now that the teacher is asking, are you happy? Helen shoved me. We've studied hard for 10 years, finally got into a top university, and you just have to ruin it for us. The homeroom teacher hurried over, frowning. What are you arguing about? I was just about to look for you. What on earth did you eat? Rose suddenly laughed. Her tone relaxed. Teacher, it's fake. We just lost a game of truth or dare and posted it on social media as a prank. Lily immediately chimed in, forcing an Innocent smile. That's right, teacher, those photos were photoshopped. How could we possibly eat protected animals? Helen pretended to be wronged, then glanced at me. Yeah, we were just fooling around. Who knew someone would take it seriously? The homeroom teacher eyed them suspiciously. Is this for real? You can't joke about something like this. The crowd spoke in unison. It's true, we didn't eat it. The homeroom teacher finally breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, don't make a mistake. On such an important life decision, the homeroom teacher patted my shoulder. Jason, you've been chatting with me and the principal for quite a while now. Thanks for the fruit basket. You can head back now. The sound of the homeroom teacher's footsteps faded away, but the atmosphere at the school gate instantly turned icy. Lily's smile faded, her eyes turning sinister. Now there's no one to protect you. Alice shoved me into the corner. Weren't you good at pretending? Keep acting now. He grabbed my hair and slammed my head against the wall. The back of my head hurt terribly, and when I touched it, it was actually bleeding. You brought this on yourselves. It's none of my business. You posted so many videos on your social media. Who knows if you even blocked the teacher from seeing them? Rose stood with her arms crossed, exuding an air of cold superiority. Jason, you've let me down so much. Your parents even asked me to look after you when we started college, but, she then shook her head. Your character is truly awful. Knowing you has been my misfortune. The crowd quickly gathered, shouting to pin me down on the ground. What are you doing? Stop it. The security guard roared. You can't fight here. Everyone instantly scattered, pretending nothing had happened. Lily smiled sweetly. Uncle, we were just playing around. The security guard looked at me suspiciously. Are you okay? Rose stepped forward, grabbed my wrist, and with a threatening look in her eyes, whispered, think carefully before you speak, otherwise, I'll never talk to you again. Suppressing my disgust at her arrogance, I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth and calmly looked at the security guard. I'm fine, thank you. Hearing this, the crowd sneered with contempt, each face brimming with smug satisfaction. Suddenly, Alice jumped up in fright. Holy shit, check social media now, Lily's shop is trending. The entire class instantly fell silent, with everyone lowering their heads and frantically scrolling through their phones. Trending at no. 3. Hashtag Chen's Game Meat Shop suspected of selling nationally protected animals. Hashtag trending at no. 7. Hashtag high school graduate consumes Chinese pangolin. Hashtag the grid of photos clearly shows pangolin meat on the table, bird catching nets in the backyard, and live yellow-breasted buntings in cages. With the center photo featuring Lily taking a selfie with her phone. Anonymous tip, this shop has been illegally selling protected animals for a long time. These students not only ate them but also personally participated in the hunting. The comment section already has over 10,000 entries. Are these students idiots? How dare they eat protected animals and then post about it on social media? Recommend revoking all their admission qualifications. Keeping them would just be trouble. That girl flaunting with her phone is disgusting. She should be thoroughly investigated. Alice's voice trembled with fear. Oh no, didn't we post these photos ourselves? Helen frantically deleted posts from her moments. Delete them, hurry up and delete them. Rose angrily threw her phone to the ground. Deleting it is useless. People have already taken screenshots. Lily stared fixedly at her phone, her fingers trembling, then suddenly looked up and glared at me. It was you. You must have sent the photos to the media. I covered the wound, my face calm. I wasn't even there. How could there be photos? Didn't you say it was photoshopped? So what? Are you afraid of? Rose's phone rang. It was the homeroom teacher calling. Where are you? Get back to the principal's office right now. The entire class fell deathly silent, every face turning ashen. In the principal's office, the atmosphere froze to an icy standstill. The homeroom teacher yanked Rose over. You actually ate pangolin and yellow-breasted bunting. Helen was so frightened she nearly burst into tears. Teacher, we were wrong. We were just curious. The principal put down the phone, his face as dark as coarse hemp cloth. We've just received notice that all the students involved will have their admissions to top universities suspended for review. Hearing this, everyone was stunned, each one of them panicked, not expecting such an outcome. In the hallway outside the principal's office, parents arrived one after another. Lily's mother grabbed me by the collar. So it was you who reported it, wasn't it? My husband got arrested because of you. How can someone so young be so vicious? Alice's parent pointed at my nose and yelled, my son studied hard for 10 years and finally got into a top university, and now you've ruined everything. Helen's parent shoved me. What did your parents teach you? Can't stand seeing others do well, can you? I calmly stepped back step by step. I didn't report it. What does the police raid on Lily's shop for illegally selling protected animals have to do with me? Lily suddenly covered her face and burst into tears. Our shop has Been open for so many years without any issues, why did it have to happen this time? Whoa. Alice immediately stepped forward to chime in. It was him who reported us. He even threatened us before, saying eating game meat would leave a criminal record. The parents were all seething with anger. Such a scheming mind at such a young age. He must be punished, otherwise, we'll jointly file a complaint with the Education Bureau. The principal looked troubled, trying to mediate. Everyone, please stay calm. The matter hasn't been fully investigated yet. Lily's mother screamed, interrupting. What's there to investigate? It's all his fault. If my daughter can't get into college, he won't get away with it either. Lily pointed at me and shouted, the real culprit is Jason. He was the one who said eating game meat is very nourishing, which is why my family went to stock up, but then he didn't eat any himself. He set a trap to harm us. The principal frowned and knocked on the table. Jason, a classmate is accusing you of inducing them to eat game meat. Do you have any explanation? I snorted coldly. I didn't. On the contrary, I warned them that eating protected animals is illegal. Lily's face turned red with anger, and she couldn't help but sob. You're lying. It was you who said in the group chat that day, pangolins are highly nutritious, and eating them can even change your luck, which is why we went. The classmates immediately chimed in. Yes. He even said it can't be traced anyway, egging us on to post it on social media. These people are rotten to the core. To frame me, they'd say anything. I raised an eyebrow and smirked coldly. Where's the proof? Linda pulled out her phone and swiped the screen. I deleted the chat history, but they all remember. The other classmates nodded one after another, all pointing at me. Lily's mother suddenly stood up, her voice shrill. So it was you little bastard, who caused all this. My husband got arrested. The shop is gone. Are you happy now? Alice's father clenched his fists until they cracked. If my son can't go to college, I'll make sure your whole family pays for it. The homeroom teacher tried to stop them. Parents, please calm down. The truth hasn't been clarified yet. Alice's father pushed the homeroom teacher aside. What's there to clarify? With so many children accusing him, how could it be false? Lily's mother suddenly rushed forward and slapped me across the face. I'll teach you to hurt people. My cheek was red and swollen as I stumbled back against the wall. Other parents swarmed in, some pulling my hair, others kicking my legs. The principal slammed the table and roared, enough, this is a school. The parents paused briefly but still surrounded me. The homeroom teacher helped me up and asked in a low voice, Jason, if you really didn't do it, why is everyone pointing fingers at you? Blood trickled from the corner of my mouth as I met the homeroom teacher's disappointed gaze, my heart turning completely cold. Are you sure the records were really deleted clean? Lily's expression froze, and the other classmates' eyes began to dart around nervously. The principal noticed something unusual. What do you mean? I slowly pulled out my phone. Luckily, I have proof. The room suddenly fell dead silent. I presented the evidence from my phone. Voices of classmates. Lily kindly arranged this college celebration banquet, and you're not going. Aren't you embarrassing her? Exactly. This might be the only chance to eat pangolin and yellow breasted bunting. My voice, you've heard of it too, then don't you know it's a nationally protected animal? Eating it is illegal. Lily's voice, are you looking down on my family's restaurant? These game meats come through special channels. No one regulates them at all. The students lowered their heads one by one upon hearing the recording. The principal angrily slammed the table. Ridiculous. Jason clearly advised you, yet you still went. And you even tried to slander him. Lily pouted, unwilling to admit her mistake. He's the best at saying one thing to your face and another behind your back. This recording is just one-sided and doesn't prove anything. The other students nodded in agreement. Exactly. Would we all conspire to frame him? Clearly, it's his fault. Rose stared into my eyes. Jason, just admit it. Don't implicate everyone else. All of us were unaware. You were the main planner, so you should bear the responsibility. I'll explain to your parents. The homeroom teacher frowned and thought, if only one person made a mistake, the school's admission rate could still be preserved. The principal's eyes flickered, as if weighing the pros and cons. Some parents made a suggestion, make him write a confession letter. No, I was surrounded by everyone, as if I were prey. I clenched my fists in anger. I didn't do it. I won't write it. The parents angrily stepped forward. You're not leaving this door until you write. Their eyes were bloodshot, looking as if they wanted to tear me apart. Suddenly, police sirens blared at the school gate, and 2 officers strode in. We received a report that someone here is consuming and capturing nationally protected first-class animals. All the parents instantly let go, their faces pale. At the Municipal Public Security Bureau, all the students were seated in different interrogation rooms. Rose, Lily, and I were in one room. The police officer tapped on a tablet. Lily, your pangolin photo on WeChat moments with the Caption: got it through connections. You call that unaware? Tears instantly welled up in Lily's eyes. Officer, I was just bragging. It was actually just farmed crocodile meat. The officer smirked as he pulled up the video footage. So the buntings cut in the bird nets on the back mountain were photoshopped too. Rose nodded quickly. That was us playing a wilderness survival reality show cosplay. Props. The criminal investigation team leader walked in holding an evidence bag, just recovered. Class group chat records. The projector lights up. Lily, freshly killed Parental tonight. Rose, won't we get caught? Lily, don't worry. The law states that as long as you didn't know, even accidental consumption is fine. Seeing the evidence, Lily's face darkened, and she suddenly pointed at me and screamed, he forged it. His hacking skills are exceptionally good. Rose quickly nodded in agreement. Yes. He even hacked into the school system to change grades before. The police officers exchanged glances, and I couldn't help but laugh beside them. Lily glared at me angrily, still laughing. It's just like you, a scumbag who can't stand to see us happy. The police officer suddenly slammed the table, still not telling the truth. Do you know who reported you? Rose coldly crossed her arms. Who else but him could do such a despicable thing? The police officer sneered. The whistleblower wasn't the student at all. It was the Wildlife Protection Association that proactively reported the case based on photos from social media. Lily shook her head in disbelief. How is this possible? That was clearly a private moment shared only with close friends. The police officer held up the phone inside the evidence bag. Your TikTok post included a location tag, and the likes included animal protection volunteers. Article 341 of the criminal law. Illegally hunting or killing protected wildlife with full knowledge of their protected status is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Rose's mouth fell open in shock. Lily's hands trembled. Officer, we didn't realize it was this serious. The head of the criminal investigation team tossed out the file, staring at Lily. Your father confessed that your shop sold 46 Pandelins and over 80 yellow-breasted buntings over 5 years. Lily's shin collapsed weakly into the chair, then suddenly sprang up and pointed at me. He ate some too. I have the payment record. He paid me 200 yuan. But he planned it all along, deliberately not taking photos. Rose, isn't that right? Rose looked at her eyes wavering. Faced with Lily's resolute gaze, she finally nodded. Yes, although he didn't eat much, he did eat something. The police officer turned to look at me. I sighed inwardly. Rose's parents often flew abroad for business trips, so I frequently brought her back to my house for meals. Our two families knew each other well, so I never expected her to be such a jerk. You guys always tell such naive lies. I pointed to the submitted phone. I have a recording on my phone that proves I wasn't there, and I even tried to talk them out of it. Besides, when they were at Lily's shop, I was at school with the principal and homeroom teacher. They can vouch for me, and the surveillance at the school gate can confirm my entry and exit times. Lily was instantly speechless, glaring at me with resentment. So much evidence, still won't admit it was all premeditated. The policeman angrily slammed his hand on the table. You're making baseless accusations against someone they could sue you for that, and you, how dare you provide false testimony? Do you realize the consequences? I coughed, clutching the throbbing wound where I'd been struck. Officer, I demand a medical examination. I want to press charges for assault. Hearing this, they froze in shock. Rose stared at me intently. Don't push it. The parents acted impulsively in the heat of the moment. It's your fault for not explaining things clearly right away. I gave a cold smile. Did I not make myself clear? Officer, I had repeatedly denied their accusations before they took action, and I recorded the entire process. Upon hearing this, Lily's expression changed as well. What do you mean? There are recordings and surveillance everywhere. What exactly are you so guilty about? I suppressed my pain and gave her a disdainful glance. You think beating and slandering people is justified, but when I preserve evidence, it becomes proof of my guilt. How utterly absurd. Lily and Rose both looked extremely uncomfortable, unsure of what to do. I went to the hospital for a medical examination while the entire class remained detained under custody. When I returned to the police station mediation room, Lily suddenly rushed toward me, handcuffed. Jason, please, my dad has already been arrested. Don't sue my mom anymore. I'll apologize to you on her behalf. The other classmates also began speaking up one after another. Come on, we're all classmates here. You should just let it go already. You don't look seriously injured. Don't overdo it. The police officer spoke coldly from the side. According to the hospital's assessment, Jason has 2 broken ribs and multiple bruises on his body. The medical expenses and subsequent rehabilitation costs are estimated to be 20,000 to 30,000 yuan. Alice muttered under her breath. His family is rich. What's this little expense? Lily suddenly thought of something, and her eyes lit up instantly. Doesn't your family know the Education Bureau officials have Your dad put in a good word for us, so they won't revoke our admission to the top-tier university." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone seemed to regain hope. "Yes, his father is the deputy director of the Municipal Education Bureau. Jason, why don't you ask your dad to step in and put in a word with the university president? We'll remember your kindness." "That's right, when we make it big in the future, we won't forget to help you out." I let out a cold snort, as if listening to a joke. "Where do you get the nerve? You hurt me and still expect my dad to help you. My family won't knowingly break the law. You're beyond saving." Still trying to compound your mistakes, seeing my refusal, the resentment in everyone's eyes was impossible to hide. Rose stared at me coldly. "You're so noble, then why didn't you desperately stop us back then?" Alice kicked over the chair, trying to charge forward. "You clearly knew the consequences. If you really considered us classmates, you should have advised us at the risk of your life." The police restrained the rioting. "Alice, attention, this is the police station." I raised my phone and played the recording. Lily's voice. "Some people just don't have the taste buds for it." Alice's voice. "He's just jealous." I watched them coldly. "Did you hear that? These were your exact words back then." Helen's tears streamed down uncontrollably. "We just didn't think it through thoroughly enough. You should have kept persuading us." Alice was so furious that she started banging her own head wildly. "If you had knelt down and begged us not to go, if you had called the police right then, we wouldn't have." I suddenly burst out laughing. "How amusing. When I tried to warn you, you cursed at me. When the teacher found out, you hit me. When someone reported it, you framed me, trying to drag me down with you. And now you expect me to save you. Am I your dog? Or am I your grandparent, supposed to spoil you brats like grandchildren?" Everyone froze, fuming with anger but unable to speak. Regarding the intentional consumption of nationally protected animals, due to conclusive evidence, everyone will face administrative penalties. Rose and the others involved in capturing nationally protected animals will face criminal charges. Considering the students' special status, they were first bailed out by their parents, awaiting court summons and trial. My admission letter has finally arrived. The principal and homeroom teacher congratulated me, but their faces showed utter disappointment with our graduating class. Lily got the news and rushed to the school with a group of classmates. "How dare you still get to go to college? We've found out. It was your aunt who reported us for eating game, the one from the Wildlife Conservation Association. You planned this all along." I frowned. Another false accusation. "My aunt has been studying rhinos in Africa for 5 years and hasn't returned to the country. At least make your lies believable." Lily suddenly grabbed a chair. "Since we're all doomed, don't think you'll get off easy either." The homeroom teacher went to stop the other rioting students, and Alice seized the chance to grab my hair and slam my head against the wall. Alice whispered devilishly in my ear, "Fight back, hit me. As long as you fight back too, it'll be mutual combat. Tsinghua and Peking will revoke your qualification immediately." The back of my head hit the wall, and blood splattered onto the word "good" in our school motto: strive for self-improvement and pursue perfection. The principal slammed the table in anger. "Stop, you're compounding your mistakes, knowingly breaking the law and ruining your own futures." Security rushed in and separated us. I pointed to another phone set up nearby. "I've been live streaming everything you just did. I always had a feeling this wouldn't end so easily. That's why I've been documenting everything." The screen showed over 100,000 live viewers, with comments flooding the chat. "These students are utterly hopeless. It's fortunate that their admission qualifications were revoked, otherwise they would have been a greater menace to society in the future. They must be severely punished. Not a single one of them should be let off." Many university staff also watched online, and some official university accounts posted bullet comments. "Our university will not admit students who engage in violent bullying, eating nationally protected animals, assaulting witnesses. This kind of person doesn't deserve to come to our school." The students all panicked, not knowing what to do. At this moment, the police also arrived. Those who were originally only facing administrative penalties became even more flustered and regretful. I didn't mean to. It was Lily who egged us on." "Jason, you tell Lily. She said the whistleblower was your aunt. That's why we acted impulsively." Helen suddenly came to her senses. "That's right. Lily is the real culprit. She was the one who arranged for us to eat the wild game too." At this moment, everyone realized what had happened. "That's right, it's Lily. If it weren't for her, why would everyone have gone? All the actions were directed by her. We were just following along." Alice rushed forward again and grabbed Lily's hair. "It's you. You're the one who lied to everyone, saying eating game was harmless. You even sent us to catch those buntings." Lily kept struggling and screaming. "Are you insane? It was clearly your own gluttony that—" Helen slapped Lily across the face, leaving an immediate red mark. "Bullshit. Wasn't it you who said if you don't eat it, You're not a real sister. Lily crawled toward the detective, clutching at their pant leg. They forced me. They said they wanted something exciting. Alice even said it wouldn't be thrilling enough unless she posted it on TikTok. Alice suddenly lunged forward and kicked her in the chest. Bullshit. It was clearly you who said we should take this opportunity to promote it. I still have your message in my phone. Pangolins can unclog blood vessels, even experts eat them. I'm only 18 and already have a criminal record. You owe me my life back. Lily was pushed to the ground, trembling as she looked up at Rose. Rose, please help me. Rose looked at her with pity and was about to speak when Alice suddenly grabbed her arm. You've been too scared to tell your parents. Do you really think you can keep this hidden? If you help her again, you'll be dragged down too. Rose pressed her lips together, remembering the message her grandmother had sent her last night. Your parents found out and are coming back from abroad tomorrow. Rose clenched her fists. She feared his parents the most. Her father was traditional and stubborn, her mother demanding perfection, and they had placed high expectations on her since childhood. If they learned she had been rejected by a top-tier university and was facing jail time, the consequences. When she looked at Lily again, her eyes turned cold. Lily, just admit it. Lily collapsed to the ground, her eyes filled with despair. The detective suddenly added from the side, we just found out that the whistleblower was Lily's own uncle. He pretended to be from the Wildlife Protection Association, but it was actually an internal dispute over uneven distribution of the spoils. Alice angrily slapped Lily again. It was clearly you and your family who caused all this, yet you're framing Jason. He looked at me, suddenly appearing righteous and indignant. Jason, I was wrong earlier, but we were truly deceived. I'll teach her a lesson right now to vent your anger for you. He wanted to take action, but was stopped by the police. I sneered coldly. Stop pretending. You're not standing up for me. You're just venting your own frustrations. I won't let any of them get away with it. Helen suddenly knelt down. Jason, I was possessed by a demon just now. Please spare us. Rose also looked extremely distressed at this moment. We've been classmates for so many years. I looked at her coldly. Years of being classmates. You didn't consider old ties when you framed me. A loud voice came from outside the door. That's right. Not a single one should be spared. My parents are here. After my parents entered, the other parents behind them crowded around the doorway. My dad hugged me, shielding me in his arms. My mom raised a stack of documents, her voice firm and resolute. Everyone. I just found out that Lily only scored 380 on the college entrance exam, which isn't enough for any undergraduate program. The entire hall was in an uproar. Lily's face instantly turned pale. That's a system error. My mom played the recording on her phone again, and Lily's voice came through. Uncle, when you report it, make sure to emphasize it was a whole class gathering. Drag Jason down with us too. Dad, bring out the pangolin and the yellow-breasted bunting. I'm treating the whole class to their last meal. Once they all get their admissions revoked, netizens will just call them ignorant and say they deserved it. Rose stared at her in disbelief. You deliberately set us up. We were best friends. Helen pointed at Lily with trembling fingers. So that discount treat, teaching us to lie, it was all for. Lily knew the scheme had been exposed. She flew into a hysterical rage. Why should all of you get into top universities? I'm the only one who failed. I won't accept this. Someone rushed in through the door. It was Lily's mother. She suddenly grabbed her daughter by the collar. Your father got sentenced to 10 years, all our family assets were confiscated, and it's all because of your petty jealousy. Lily suddenly burst into hysterical laughter. Exactly. I want to see these straight-A students become pariahs just like me. She pointed at me. Especially you. So what if you're first in your grade? Helen's mom grabbed a stainless steel thermos and threw it at Lily. My daughter was in the top 50 of the province. Now it's all gone. How are you going to make up for this? The thermos cup hit Lily's forehead, and blood instantly streamed down. Alice's father shoved the security guard aside, grabbed Lily by the hair, and slammed her head against the table. A beast like you doesn't deserve to go to university. You're not even fit for a vocational college. Parents rushed in, surrounding Lily in an instant, punching and kicking her. The police finally had to fire a warning shot before everyone stopped. Lily was covered in blood. She staggered to her feet and suddenly pulled out a lighter. I made a mistake, but what about you? Didn't you also hit Jason? Didn't you also try to force him to drop the lawsuit? Fine, push it all onto me, then let's all die together. She lit her own school uniform on fire. Everyone stepped back in fear, terrified the flames might leap onto them. Security and police immediately grabbed fire extinguishers, put out the flames on Lily, and handcuffed her. Lily's arm was burned, yet she still bared her teeth in anger. Jason, are you satisfied now? You've 1. Everyone is suffering, so why do you get to walk away unscathed? I watched her walk away indifferently. She's truly a madwoman. Following the advice of the police and my parents, I filed lawsuits against everyone involved, sparing no one. Those people were either imprisoned or punished, and we never saw each other again afterward. At home, my parents prepared a celebration banquet for my academic advancement. Only my family members attended. On the table, there's only simple home-cooked food. This is what steady happiness truly looks like. Later, Rose had her parents